on topic. The topic is being on
I mean,
camera.
maybe your next one, you're going to get an interlock device, right? That's going to be embarrassing.
Let's stay on topic now.
Ooh, sore spots. Is it one more until you get an interlock device?
What are you talking about?
You know exactly what I'm talking about because now you're
What?
feigning ignorance.
What's an interlock device? What are you talking about?
What's an interlock device? I don't know what that is.
I see why you won't get on camera.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
It's probably because I know you, right?
So is it
it's
one or
probably
two?
because I know you, and you're a butthurt little bitch that's pissed off that I am where I am. I see.
At a truck stop, drunk, eating Taco Bell with a bald
head. The fuck is drunk? I'm not drunk. What are you talking about?
Yeah, keep telling yourself. I hope you're not. Honestly, I do, because it sounds like you're going to get on the road.
I'm not.
I'm Donald
and
Trump,
I really wish. I hope that you're not.
I'm not, bro. Okay, there's a hell of a lot more factors that are involved in intoxication besides alcohol consumption.
Yeah.
For example, intellect level and shit like that.
You bored me now. I'm done.
Anyway, yeah, now. I know because you're easily.
Man, you're ugly.
Yeah. I'm easily bored.
Have a taste of my ball.
Just like all the people that come here and talk shit that won't be on camera, it's probably people that I know.
Well, this has certainly been an interesting exchange. And,
honestly, in real life, you probably have fun at bars, but
we've had a strange time here on the Machine Lies, and I think I'm going to close it off from my end. I want to go around the panel and let everybody get a closing statement, as is customary. I'm going to premiere some content that I made just the other day. I think Cecil was there as well. We were talking about Toilet Bowl Earth, his communism arc, or anti-capitalism arc, whatever the fuck you want to call it, his LARP about communism or whatever the fuck he's doing.
Your face, your ass.
So we're gonna be getting up in that. But yeah, thank you guys for joining here. Cecil, what you got to say to these people, man?
I don't know, man. Freaking wipe front to back.
That's what it is.
Yeah, good advice.
Thank you so much, Cecil. Drive safe.
Of course. I'm gonna go find a place to take a shit like an animal in the woods now.
For sure, dude. Yeah, man. Thank you, man. And yeah, we got Corbitt here streaming out here. Bless you, brother, man. Go ahead, man.
What's up? Bless you. Yeah, I got a video actually on my YouTube. I've been documenting how the opioid epidemic was caused by our government, and is known where the real source is, which is China through the U.S. mail. Both sides of the aisle know it, and I had proof. I got hacked recently, and all my military interviews were taken, but I'm trying to redeem some of them before I do chapter 2. But I got chapter 1 up on my page now. I got some random stuff where I do vocal covers. I do all sorts of different things just for my own benefit, really. I stream games, shit like that, so y'all can check it out. It's youtube.com/what my well, yeah, it's in the chat there.
Somebody put it up there, but I can't find it. Can you put it up there again?
Just take off everything off zero divide there, or after zero divide in the way it's typed on that link.
Yeah, it's on the screen there and the link there. But yeah, you guys find the channel. Please subscribe to Corbitt. Sounds very interesting. You know, I cover a range.
Also, you can go to aaroncorbitt.com and see a lot of my best work there. That's where I throw up my stuff. You can watch all my lives through there too, which is actually streaming right there right now, actually.
Good shit.
This
Holmes. Yeah, thank you so much, man. Yeah, thank you, Holmes. Yeah, and
no problem. I appreciate you letting me on.
Yeah, you know, you're welcome back anytime. I host this panel, you know, Wednesday, Friday morning, and Saturday night. So yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I got you on all notifications now too. You were recommended by Esra, and I trust her with all I got. So
yeah, she's great. Yeah, she's great. Yeah, she's a good friend of the channel. Yeah, thank you so much, brother. Yeah, bless
Have a
you.
good one.
Yeah, thanks for being here. My email's in the description of the channel if you ever need to talk to me. But yeah, bless you, brother.
Sounds good. You too.
Yeah, thank you, brother Corbitt. Yeah, please subscribe to Corbitt, and yeah, bless him for being here. And yeah, we got Nick Volt here, who's been here many times.
Always
You know,
a
what you got-
pleasure. It's good to meet you, Corbett. You know what? I was actually impressed with your science experiment. I didn't mean to go too hard on you, but I'm going to. You said Corbitt.com. And whatever you
Yeah,
said
yeah,
about
let me bring it back.
opioids,
Yeah.
that's something which you and I
What
probably
was it
would
again?
agree
He was
on.
asking. Oh, was it Corbett.com?
No, it's AaronCorbitt.com. My first and last name. Let me put it in the chat.
For sure. Yeah. We'll throw that up
I
there.
got merch that I created myself even on there. Like there's don't fuck with Cthulhu hoodies and all sorts of shit. And I had a series I started with Andreas Zertis, like he was my first guest, and I did it was called The Rear View of Possible, but I also got like an internet version 2.0 documentary, well, sort of just telling you about it and how if the more people know about it, the bigger chance we have to get off the United States government's emergency communications backbone and get onto a truly free internet. And they're making completely de-Google phones because one person on the planet could rewrite the Android operating system from the kernel up. And he was found in Indonesia, and he's on the team. The truckers that did the trucker strike here in America, they put their life savings into the project. Like it's all good people, and they've got an Amazon alternative, a YouTube alternative, and we just need it to grow. I'm an advanced pre-release tester for it, so but it's ready to go as far as the set-top boxes. But they're working on the phones. They should be out hopefully this year that are completely de-Googled and no one. It's a new form of encryption also.
Yep.
That's at QUX.tv.
It's I mean, the internet gives us the ability to freely exchange ideas. And when the internet first came out, it was kind of like hands off the government, but now
Well, it's completely anonymous too. They only store half of your email address, and it's linked to that box only. And you can exchange your money one for one with their tokens, like one for one with the US dollar with their tokens. And 3 banks have it backed. So when you take a debit card to go spend the money, like it's automatically converted from the tokens at a store, it puts the company's name on there, not your name. So the government can't find out how you're spending your money either. There's a ton of people on it, and all the truckers from the trucker strike are actually doing all the shipping for it once they get more stores. Oh yeah, they also invented a new kind of encryption that can't be broken by the government because it doesn't operate by normal encryption rules. It's something completely reinvented out of the box. It's more like being lost at sea and no one being able to find out what time and space you are in that sea storm to be able to intercept it. So that's the best way I can explain it. It's crazy. I heard the CEO, he explains it on my video about it on my page. So
somebody needs to come up with an alternative because it will happen in the next 10 years when they remove net neutrality, and companies like AT&T, Cox Cable, Spectrum say, they'll start, you have to pay to view certain sites and make it just like old-fashioned cable TV. It's only a matter of time.
This is basically a private network that even the CEO doesn't have like access to actually change or shut down any portion of it. It's not decentralized, but it takes away the need for decentralization because of the new form of encryption. That's the best I can explain it. The CEO is actually talking on my video. I'm not the greatest with live streams and stuff like that. Usually, like I don't prepare well enough, and I never have notes, so I just go off the cuff. But that's why I had him on. And Zertis, it was my first live ever, so I don't know.
Sweet.
But
I'll
yeah,
check it out. We'll talk again soon, hopefully. Machine Lies, always a pleasure. Sorry if I annoyed your guest.
Thank you so much, brother Corbitt. Yeah, I just wanted to get a chance for you to show Nick Volt your website there. But yeah, bless you, brother, for being here. If you ever need me, hit me up on the email. And yeah, bless you, brother, man.
Same here. I do video editing. I do basically anything. I'm a jack of all trades. So you need something done, I got you.
Yeah,
I can do websites. I can do whatever.
Yeah, thank you, brother, man. I'd love to talk to you again, man. Thanks for the offer there. And Nick Volt seems to have dropped out here, so I'll just leave you guys here for now. Thank you for joining, brother Corbitt. I'm gonna throw you in the back here.
Thank you. That works.
Yeah, bless you, brother. Yeah, and yeah, we got, me and Cecil out here, as you know, we got the show The Machine Lies. Me and Cecil out here, and Neuro Jack, and a few other people, when you meet these characters out here. But yeah, thank you for joining us as always. You know what I mean? Here on The Machine Lies, where we talk about the lies of the machine on the machine that lies. Yeah, good night to you too, brother Nick Volt. Thank you. And
It's
yeah,
me and the road. My
right.
road is my only woman, man. That's all the woman that I need is the road.
Hell yeah.
That's my outro right there, bro. The road is my woman, and the only woman that I need is my road. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it is. And here's some old shit we did earlier, talking about Toilet Bowl Earth, who's always talking about this show. You all guys already know.
Hey, man, let me just tell you real quick, TML. I really appreciate everything you do. And, some people just get a little annoyed when, even the dumbest seeming people come out of the woodwork and appear to be their intellectual competitor, even though, it's that cognitive dissonance that kind of has a tendency to flip some people out, But I'll tell you what, out of everybody that I've met in this entire panel verse, you seem to be the most legit person because you actually talk about real philosophy and you're not just trying to be like a fake motherfucker that's like got some type of like, I don't know, man. You seem like you're real, like a lot of people around the streets are like, yeah, no problem, man. A lot of people around these streets just seem like they're just trying to get a paycheck and do a fucking job and let me just read a script and I mean it's but like I don't know, man. Just my feel of the situation is like, this guy's actually really talking about real philosophy and this is actually verifiable and you're just not just trying to spout like pseudoscience or whatever, But
that's what it is, Cecil. I share what I've learned, and I appreciate you being here and being a friend of the show. And definitely, we got a lot more to talk about. And yeah, same goes for you. Game recognized game. You're one of the realest dudes I've met on the internet as well. You know what I'm saying? I could only count 5 of y'all on my hands, really. The people, we've been doing this for 6 months, and we haven't really run into too many characters that actually hold weight, or actually carry weight, or are gonna take the weight for what is next, for the human species here. But yeah, man, I appreciate you, Cecil, man. Thank you for being here for me, brother, man, and definitely we'll talk soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're not all on freaking off cam with voice changes and shit. I'm like, exactly. For real. You know what I mean? Anyway, I just wanted to say that. So yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you, brother, man. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, that's what it is. The machine lies. Thank you for joining us here on The Machine Lies. And the first step to blinding somebody is getting them to open their eyes. I mean, man, I hope you guys have clarity to see through the lies, my friends. Peace, you guys, and yeah, peace from us.
More of a perspective. I wish guys like Jim Bob or whoever would get out on these panels and put an alternate perspective out there. I know some people just can't be saved or want to refuse to love the truth, but there's truth out there and it's not being had on these panels.
Yo, we're watching the panels from last night. I'm just watching shit, trying to do a test stream here because my internet is failing. So I'm going to figure out what's going on and then watch this video back and see if my video quality or whatever, my internet quality or whatever is dissipating. But yeah, let's see.
Mutual distraction.
Hey, I just want to say that, I'm really enjoying this conversation right now. This seems like a very calm, very
Well, I have a question.
easygoing conversation, Mr. Rocky. Go ahead.
Okay, so you say that the Judaism has nothing to do with Christianity,
I mean,
and I'm not talking
Christianity is
about.
derived from telling the
I'm not.
Jews they were doing it
I'm not.
wrong.
I'm not talking about fake Judaism. I'm talking about like
The
the
Hebrew.
beliefs of the Israelites.
Well, I mean,
Didn't- aren't-
technically,
didn't
Jesus would have
Jesus-
been wearing that garb and
Didn't-
doing that.
Shout out to my one viewer, Sideways Stewie. Peace, brother. What's going on, dude? Yeah, we're just testing out a stream here. But yeah, does Judaism have anything to do with Christianity? What's the question? That's such an interesting question. Right? You know, I think where the discussion was, Toilet Bowl Earth was telling Rock E and the others that only Abrahamic religion is Christianity. So we're just picking it up. It's kind of an interesting discussion so far. I mean, to be honest. But yeah, I'm testing out my internet connection and this shit. Yeah, let's see what happens.
Didn't
Stop.
Jesus say that? Wasn't Jesus like salvation? Didn't Jesus say salvation comes through the Jews or the Israelites? Didn't he say that once? So
Salvation is of the Jews, right? That's in the Gospels, isn't it? Right? Salvation is of the Jews. I think that's Gospel of John. Let me see. Salvation is of the Jews. Yeah, he does say that. By the way, John 4:22. To sum up, salvation is of the Jews, right? They're the covenant of God, right? You worship what you do not know. You worship what you do know. You worship what you do not know. We worship the Jews. Interesting.
You say that Christianity
Right,
has nothing to do with true Israelite Judaism is kind of nonsense. It is a Judo-Christian thing, but it's not the fake Judaism religion going on now. It's,
Oh shit. He said Judo-Christian. I'm cutting and roboting. Thanks for telling me that. Yeah, that's why I'm doing this. I'm trying to figure out why I'm cutting and roboting like that. But yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, so far. I actually don't know what's causing it. But yeah, I'll figure it out. You know, I might have to do a couple of these test streams, you know. Yeah, that's because of my internet connection. You know, it shows the internet connection going in and out, and then I start roboting. It's a fucking problem. I don't know why it keeps doing that, but yeah. Is it still Borging like that? I hope not. You know, but yeah, man. I mean, I might have to not put my stream up if that's the case tonight, you know. If I don't figure it out, I might not stream tonight because it's just like it's a constant issue. But yeah. The Machine Lies, good interview with Jesse the other day. Thank you, my brother. Yeah, man, you've been killing it on the interviews too. You've been having some good interviews on your channel as well, you know. But yeah, I've been doing some shit. Yes. Let me try to figure out what the. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go clean cache on the browser. Yeah, for sure.
What I was saying was that there's no three Abrahamic religions. Okay, there's
Yeah, but the term Abrahamic is a modern term used to apply to all three of them, right? So, I mean, yeah, there's no three Abrahamic religion. You could just dismiss the term Abrahamic. It's a nonsense term, just as the term Judeo-Christian is a nonsense term. You know what I mean? So, I mean, these are both nonsense terms. Abrahamic, right? All three religions think something totally different about Abraham, right? Right? Christians think Abraham saw Jesus. He wrestled with Jesus in the desert. right? Muslims believe a totally different version of Abraham, right? In the Bible, Abraham does all sorts of shit, right? That's not accounted for in Islam, right? So it's all different, right? Abraham, the character is different, right?
Only one
Yeah,
Abrahamic
it's all
religion, which is
well, yeah.
the Judaic going into the Christian fold, Christian era. Correct? Would you say that that's accurate?
Right. We
That,
were
there
correct.
is no such thing. Would you agree that there's no such thing as Judaism anymore because Christ fulfilled that? Correct.
Yeah, he said there's no more
Okay.
Jew.
So and then and thus forth, is Muslim true? Is Islam true? Is Islam based on Abrahamic truths? No.
They think it
So,
is.
as I said before, Christianity is the only Abrahamic faith, period.
Is Islam based on Abrahamic truths? No. Well, I mean, the thing is that Abraham just views. I mean, in Abraham in Islam is different than Abraham in Christianity is different than Abraham in Judaism, right? That's what's going on. So there's no such thing as Abrahamic. That much is true. But yeah, there's Abraham in Islam. There's Abraham in the Quran. There's stories of Abraham in the Quran that seem to parallel a lot of the stories of Abraham in the Bible, right? So, I mean, there's nothing that disagrees with the common narrative of the Bible in those stories, right? Except for, right, as I said before, when Saint Irenaeus read the text, right, and there's, God appearing to Abraham, right? He takes that as it's Jesus appearing to him, right? So he's counting that as Jesus talking to Abraham, right? Okay. Whereas the Jews, they would never come up with such a concept, right? Right. They have a totally different idea of what's going on in the story of Abraham, right? They count Abraham as a patriarch of the Jews. That's his whole importance, right? But in the Bible, right, John the Baptist says, say not that we are sons of Abraham. He says, out of these stones, God can make new sons of Abraham. Say not to yourself that ye are sons of Abraham. And in the Gospel of John, it does say salvation is of the Jews. Right? Right? So there's this whole problem of Judeo-Christian, right? Right? That you can't really apply to the Islamic, right? So there's this whole issue. But yeah, anyways. I'm just testing out my stream. Let me know if I sound good, if the video's coming in good or what's going on. Yeah.
There is no
question.
there is no three
I have a
Abrahamic
question.
faiths. There's only one.
Right.
What's
It's all
the-
the
what-
same faith, but there is separation.
Sorry, that's just the truth of the
Maybe-
All
matter.
right, I have a totally unrelated question, but it's
Jesus
still off what you're
coming
talking about.
back set up
What's
the Jewish kingdom.
what's the difference between a fake Jew and the Jews that are just prophesized to keep fucking up until they get right? What's the difference? Are we calling the Jews that are fucking up fake Jews when they're just fucking up?
Jews is not a race. It's not a.
Well, it is, but it's the
You were
race
called
and
a
religion, which
Jew.
makes
Well, I'll tell you what happened is that I did an interview on the missing link. And if you go back and watch the video quality is dog shit. It doesn't show me talking. It's just picture frames of motherfuckers doing an interview. It's not even a video. It doesn't even count as a video. So if I'm not going to be even able to record a fucking video, then, you know what I mean? It's really going to be hard for me to do a stream. But yeah, that whole video got fucked up. I don't even know how that happened, but yeah. Yeah, Cynthia, Manel, good morning, everyone. Brown's boy, good morning, man. Cecil, good morning.
You were called a Jew back in the day if you believed in the Jewish Israelite religion. Like Abraham wasn't a Jew; he was a Chaldean. They started a new race by circumcision. That was a sign of a new race that they were creating. They were going to become Israelites, and anybody could join by being circumcised and following their faith. You became a Jew by following their
Well, I
faith.
guess then I'm
It
a Jew.
wasn't a race. And the Khazar Jews in Israel right now aren't even related by blood. They just, and I don't know what the hell's going on over there. That's kind of crazy going on.
It is crazy. And it's gonna get crazier. That's why the whole world's gonna turn on us.
Yo,
Yeah,
what the fuck is this shit? Yo, this is like a Art Basel tape. They only wear tape. Is that what's going on here? Hold on a second.
Are you looking at something?
Some Art Basel tape fucking show. Black tape project show.
Oh, those models with the tape on.
This is the strangest conversation on religion, for real.
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck, dude? It's filthy.
I have to stray from that. I look at it with the unclean
filthy.
eye.
It's filthy, bro.
Yeah, but some of them ladies, some of that tape, they wear it well. So
Some of that cake look good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For real.
And it is kind of cool in a comic book sense, like, that body hugging type design. But you're really just throwing tape on a bitch.
Oh.
What are you talking about?
There's runway model shows on YouTube where the dude's literally just using electric tape to put designs on naked ladies.
I think
then they get into like metallic colors like gold shimmery tape and shit. It is pretty cool.
Are you sure they're ladies and not just look?
Yeah, because there ain't nowhere to hide that dick.
Maybe they cut it off.
Damn, this conversation went from Jesus to trannies like really quick. It's kind of weird.
Then that's a pretty dude.
What the fuck?
Maybe
Dude,
they cut it off.
This is OTW news. I'm about to play some super corporate Walmart dubstep for you guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna be busting on him today on Spurg News. I'm gonna showcase one of his episodes.
I'm literally a Paul enslaved who's talking about a radar stream right here.
Oh shit, it's devolved into gossip. Let's try to go back to this religious argument.
Can't even
Conversation
reverse.
with him, and he just like drains me. Like he just like the Leave It to Beaver era people.
Crow thing for you guys sometime. I'm not prepared this morning. It's disgusting though. Aleister Crowley's wife was named Rose. I stopped going on these other channels. People don't need to hear my shit, I guess. I mean, I put my work out there. I got plenty more, but no, I'm a God-fearing, freedom-loving American. But I'm not.
This is pretty cool.
Cupcake to these other communities who hate God. They hate God. They refuse him. You know what I mean, Rocky?
Yeah, they hate God, and
well, and not to go at you, but I still see you over there, and I see you agreeing with people like Sterling.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. It's a bitter old granny panty lady.
I don't know.
You're 60 years old and single, but that doesn't mean God's not real.
Anyway, I put in private chat my latest video. The Matrix Revealed is what it's called.
The Matrix
copied some content
Revealed.
From, one of my subs on Odyssey. It's really not my content. I'm just sharing his content.
What happened to Tommy? He didn't like me saying that.
Rose 77 from the channel. That's kind of strange.
You ever heard of this Skull Earth that one of those people in the community pushes?
I never followed Crow 777 except for
Oh, get
Yeah.
motherfuckers out of there.
I've noticed
I'm
some of the
saying-
communities I first went to, not yours or 9 Prime, like a leap year, 22-9.
that. Yeah, that's
Consumerism is part of capitalism. Another thing that I always see.
Oh, this is his other thing. He's going after capitalism for some reason. He's got like this whole vendetta against capitalism at this point. So it's pretty interesting.
Is that people talk about, oh, this is a corporatism, or this is like some sort of oligarchical nepotistic form of capitalism. But no, it's not. It's just a graduated form of it. It's the natural progression of what it was going to be in the first place, which was going to be a manipulative, exploitive concept altogether. Controlling. Isn't that what truthers are talking about? Not being controlling and stuff like that. This is a system of control that you've acquiesced to almost. You've acquiesced that this is the only possible way that we can be in equal standing with each other is through capitalism. It's bullshit. It's a fucking lie. It's the biggest psyop on the modern world, honestly. The capitalism is the most disgusting part of our society because it incentivizes the worst part of us, which is greed and wanting to trample brother for status. Period. And nobody.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a straight up Marxist communism, but it's more like the Christian communism. It's like liberation theology or some shit. But yeah, I guess he's going with liberation theology or some shit. You know,
I could sit here and say that that's not a reality that you see every fucking day when you walk around here. That the class warfare is one of the biggest things that the government attacks. Class warfare is the biggest fucking thing that they use. They use to pit brother against brother. Okay, that's what they do. They want to. Yeah, because your labor, your work is not worth shit to them, and this is the problem. This is the problem with capitalism, is because it's based on inequality. It's based on I need to devalue you and make me have a turnaround of profits that sustains me. Okay, and then again, and I'll go back to what I was originally saying. Okay, where's the dude telling me how much my labor is worth? How much is that worth? Explain it to me. Explain to me how you came to understand that, sir. Explain that to me. Somebody.
I remember the scriptures where it talks about the master who went out into the vineyard, and the first people he hired was like the union, and they agreed on one.
Yo, what are we going with here? Christian communism? Yo, this is crazy stuff. I guess we've devolved into Christian communism. I mean, he's using all the key terms, labor and profit and people having ownership of their work and, you know, and brother and comrade and, you know, the whole shebang. You know what I mean? I mean, it's the increase of industry that makes you know, socialism on the one end and then you know, capitalism on the other end necessary. You know, because large scale industry, you know, you have increased centralization due to that. You know, it's just that private enterprise, you know, except for ones that are extremely profitable already, are not going to be able to manage large scale machinery, right? So, I mean, the real question is about the technology, right? Okay, it's not about profit and work and how we treat our brothers and sisters and all of these types of things. Okay, you know, that's just communism, right?
1 dinar or 1 shekel or whatever, and then the master hired some more at like 6 hours before, and then he hired before the end of the day, and then 3 hours before the end of the day, and then 1 hour at the end of the day, and then he paid them all the same. And one only worked 1 hour a day, and the others worked 6 hours a day. And the first people that agreed to 1 shekel they worked 12 hours a day and that day, and they all got paid the same. And it says, and then I think the master represents Christ. He's saying, okay, so you agreed to 1 shekel a day, and that's what you got. But and then the other people didn't agree. They said, okay, don't even tell me how much you're going to pay me. I'll just work for you. And then the guy that hired him gave him full day's wages for half a day, 1 hour. And who determined who got it? Was the master, the one who hires you, determined, and you can work for him or not. Okay, so that's where I get that word. Jesus is a capitalist. Jesus had the money. He made the decision to pay the first guy 1 shekel because that's what they agreed on, and then he hired a bunch.
Yeah, Jesus is a capitalist. Jesus is a communist. You know, the other night on Jesse Missing Link, Jesus was an anarchist. You know, I mean, Jesus is whatever you want to make him. I mean, this is the problem. It's Christ's protagonist. He's the main character in your story there. You know, what these are modern ideologies, right? Capitalism, communism, anarchism. Okay, you can't apply these to ancient man, right? That's haphazardly applying this. That's cookie cutter, like fucking bumper sticker philosophy, right? That's haphazard, right? You can't apply. You know, you're taking sides with history through modern ideologies, right? That's you don't want to do that.
Bunch of other people that worked less hours, paid him to stay. They didn't agree on any price. Just trusted that he would get paid good. And then the guys that got only the 1 shekel for working all day.
I mean, this is bad, man. If you really took verses from the Bible to interpret that Jesus was a capitalist, then, sir, you're the fucking Antichrist, dude, and you don't belong here. It's fucking insane. That is absolutely.
He called Rocky the Antichrist.
Fucking insane.
So the master.
Do you know that that's fucking insane, right?
So a master is nothing but a.
Our Lord did not speak about possessions and wants and shit like that. What he did was self-sacrifice. He gave to those that needed, and he commands us to do the same. And he commands us to do the same.
Interpret the parable.
It's crazy. We have Jesus was a capitalist versus Jesus was a communist this morning.
Interpret the parable of the
on TBE Theater
of the guy that hires the people in the street, pays them what he wants. So
that's not gonna save you from this problem, sir.
Didn't Jesus
You-
make
it-
those
it-
moneylenders in the temple?
It seems like you're just like picking and choosing what Jesus says and ignoring the rest, sir. This is ad hoc. This is exactly what's wrong with the Protestant Reformation, and the fruits of the Protestant Reformation is this right here. Just picking scripture out, interpreting it yourself, and applying it to others, trying to like minimize or maximize them.
Right, and the church just never did that. They never just picked what scripture applied to whatever they wanted it to apply to. All right.
It's a weird way. Don't make no sense. There's no way you're going to tell me Jesus was a pro-capitalist. Are you out of your fucking mind?
So he's an accelerationist now. I was checking out. I was peeping his accelerationism. You know what I mean? I got a video of it. Check this out. In a thought experiment. You know, if you're still around, you know, check out this accelerationism right here, yo. This cat went full accelerationist the other day. Look at this. I actually recorded a piece of it, but yeah.
Like, it really is something else entirely. It's the normalization of podding, you know, right? Like pod life. Everyone's just in their room, in their space, and your space is going to be this little fucking tiny little fucking square on a screen. That's going to be your space in the hyper capitalist fucking AI world. You know, that's going to be your life. And as much as I want to be anti-capitalist, the only way to be truly anti-capitalist is to be hyper-capitalist. Is to like let them give them carte blanche and let it fucking die faster. That's my view.
That's crazy, right? The best way to be anti-capitalist is to be hyper-capitalist. Whoa, that's accelerationism, buddy. That's accelerationism, buddy. That's accelerationism, buddy. Hey, my friend. Hey, my friend.
It's like absolutely.
Okay.
What do you know? What do you think capitalism is, Mr. Rocky? If you could explain that to me.
Can I read the parable to you and you explain it?
I know the parable. Can you tell me what capitalism is? What do you think capitalism is exactly?
Capitalism is whoever has the money controls the goods. Communism is capitalism. Free enterprise uses capitalism. It just means whoever has the money determines what he's going to spend his money on, who he's going to hire, how much he's going to pay him. That's a capitalist. I don't identify. I identify as a
it's very descriptive. It's not very explanatory about what capitalism is exactly. So people that have
it's purely intellectual. That's the problem. It's it's ideas versus reality here. It's crazy.
Money. That's capitalism to you?
Capitalism means that whoever has the money determines what he gets to do with his money. It's his money. He gets to do whatever. He owns the capital. And if he wants to hire somebody for $10 an hour, and if they agree, that's what they get. If they don't want to work for him, then they don't have to work for him. It's just a system. That's all. Anyway, the parable of the worker in the vineyard, Matthew 20, 1 through 16. For the kingdom of heaven is like a lamb.
What's wrong, Brett? You don't want to drink the blood and eat the flesh? No soup for you? Yo. Yeah, I seen you on OTW. That shit was hilarious, Holmes. Yo, that shit was funny. Right. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, brother Austin.
Landowner.
Hold
went
on.
out early in the morning.
Hold on a second. Rocky, I got to stop you, man. We're going to go to an Oxford Dictionary definition of capitalism. This is an economic and political system in which a country's trade and industry are controlled by private owners for profit. Do you not believe that that's what's happening in America, sir?
Capitalism is the same thing with communism.
Yeah, but earlier he even said that America's not completely a free market. And it actually, when he says it, it actually sounds like a complaint, but it is what it is. Right?
It's the same system.
How is it the same thing?
Who owns the money in China? Freaking government.
Is China capitalism? Is China communism? I'm not even advocating for communism here. So what's your point? Why are you going back to that?
What? I'm so confused. So if he's not advocating for capitalism, I hope my voice is coming in clear because my internet's fucking shitty again or whatever. But yeah. You know, so he's not for communism, even though he's bashing capitalism. I don't know. I don't know.
System of finance that whoever owns money makes the decisions on what he does with his money. If it's a private person that has money, he determines what he gets to do with the money. That's capitalism.
Okay, that's fine. But do you understand where that has gotten us right now in this day and age, sir? Do you realize we're not in that age of capitalism as you have so poorly defined it?
Is it true capitalism, what we're in right now, or is it?
Oh, okay. So now we're going to do, is it true capitalism? Okay.
I don't know, whatever. I don't know. I was trying to read a parable talking about how the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner.
I don't need you to read parables to me. I don't need you to do that.
You pretend
you're not my priest.
Scripture that tells you
you're not my priest, and I never asked you to do that.
Well, this is supposed to be some kind of Christian.
Yeah, but it's not a pulpit, sir. It's not a pulpit.
Rocky, you can take this back to your boy Z. I looked into that Jesus is a dragon thing. I can't find where it actually is.
I don't even know who you are. You're telling me this is a Christian live. I'm just supposed to let you espouse your nonsense, eternal security bullshit.
Blah blah blah.
You think you're gonna? I think I'm gonna let you just sit here and espouse heresy? No, sir.
Heresy, yeah. Okay, the Bible is heresy.
No, nobody.
Some old guy comes up to you and goes, "Man, I got a fucking parable for you, sonny boy," and this is what you tell me: espouse your fucking heresy here, you fucking devil. This shit is crazy.
Said that you did. You did.
You got 16 verses you could read, and
yeah, I know that. I know where the verses are, and I know where they read. Yeah. So, what do you want me to? What do you want me to do?
What's your interpretation on it? Who is the landowner?
Huh? What are you explaining to me?
It says the first verse: the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner.
So okay. The kingdom of what is it referencing? So it's referencing the kingdom of heaven. Do you think in heaven there are people that own land?
It's talking about land and landowner.
Okay.
An owner of something. The guy who has the capital.
I don't accept your exegesis of that scripture, sir.
Okay, so that's where all I'm doing is identifying where people get.
No, you're just recognizing things that you're personally identifying, and your personal.
What?
Interpreting and then throwing it at people.
Yes, this is what I was talking about. Just complete malarkey, complete nonsense. The fucking chakra wheel.
Like it's that's effective. That's
the fucking Hindu chakra wheel of fucking Kali just spinning and spinning and spinning itself to the death of us, of fucking all of us. What the hell is this shit? Oh my god. Did they take the video away? Maybe he took his video away. Yeah, we might have been at a spot where the video's
effective way of doing
I'm
it.
showing you where Christians get the idea that Jesus is a capitalist because this parable.
Okay,
that's
mind.
where they get the idea.
Okay, but what about the rest, sir? We can sit here and you can go, what about this? What about this one? What? Oh, it's a metaphor until it's the one that supports your. I'm sorry, what?
It's an anthropopathism or a metaphor. I can't remember. It's one of the two.
It's an anthropomorphism
Anthropopathism. Look it up. Learn
or
a new word.
or a metaphor. How could it be both?
I forget which one. I'd have to look it up because an anthropopathism is subscribing to God like a hand or something. And anthropomorphism is describing an attribute which he doesn't really have, but which is used.
Bingo, exactly. People think free market is capitalism. There is no free market, folks. What don't you understand about this? There is no free market. Zero, none. There's never been. It's just you and them, and whatever you do that's popular becomes marketable and commodifiable to them. Okay, that's what that is. No, there is no free market capitalism. Get fucking real. Goofballs. What are you fucking serious? Come on, man. We gotta do better than this. We gotta do better. No one's gonna sit here and tell me Jesus Christ was a capitalist. Not 1 second. Never gonna happen. Sorry. Christian identity is tied into giving even what you don't have to others. That is not in any way a capitalist mindset. And there is no dual nature to, there is no dual lifestyle in Christ. There is only one. You live to abide in him and what he says.
How are you going to pay people?
Talking now, no. Talking about, don't come in here telling me Jesus Christ is telling us we should all make fucking LLC companies out here because you're a fucking retard if you believe that.
Oh,
And I'm not gonna let you sit here with your eternal security heresy already shining like a fucking badge on your fucking coat here. No, not happening, D.
I just want to say Matthew 20.
You have no answer to it except you laugh because you just
use ad hominem and call me all kinds of names.
I'm not ad hominem.
So he's not anti-capitalist. There's no such thing as capitalism. He's criticizing capitalism with Christianity. I mean, and he's accusing this old man of heresy. I mean, I actually don't even know what the fuck is going on here at this point.
It's not ad hominem. If it's things that I'm saying are true. What I'm saying is true does not make it an ad hominem, sir.
You probably studied the scriptures for a year and a half and think you know everything already.
Never have I ever said that. Never did I ever say that. It sounds like a projection. That sounds like a projection, sir.
You're calling me a heretic. You don't even know the scriptures.
Motherfucker, you have called me a heretic. Are you now seriously situated?
Called me a heretic.
Unaware of the things that you say? And
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have all those videos up on my channel of this dude forgetting the scriptures if he actually didn't know the scriptures. I mean, he got him on that one. Cat actually doesn't know the scriptures at all. He doesn't even know the 10 Commandments. I mean, it's just honest. But yeah.
Are you that fucking out of touch with reality? Your near distant memories? Are you serious?
You understand reality. You're reality.
You just sound like a broken boomer at this point, dude. I'm not here to try to coax your fucking attitude from whatever fucking filth that it is.
Did you drink anything, sir?
That word.
Use what word, Rocky? What? You want me to look at you, nigga? I can look at you too. What? Sarkan, what's up? It's just gonna be me and Rocky. What's up? It's gonna be me and Rocky. What's up? I can look at you too.
Teach me. Please teach me.
What the fuck is this, yo?
I mean, I don't know, man.
This is an old-fashioned Mexican standoff right here.
Rocky, you're the one over there at TM Machine Lies channel over
Oh
there
shit!
kissing feet.
You're the one over there at Machine Lies channel. Yo, now it's guilt by association on me, yo. All of a sudden all of a sudden this is a fight he's have an invisible chess match. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. Rocky, you're the one over there at TM Machine Lies channel over there kissing
You're the one over there at the Machine Lies channel.
feet. You kiss heretics' feet?
Heretic. I mean, it's just a different religion. I mean, how could you be a heretic if you just follow a different fucking religion than somebody else, right? And he already called Rocky a heretic. So I don't see what the problem is. You know, just heretics with heretics, right? You know, what's the problem, right?
I like listening to TML.
Yeah.
I like listening to TML. I like listening to TML.
Tell him.
Yeah, you like listening to literally all he talks about
Tell him, boss.
is how about the Bible is bullshit. And
oh, come on. Yeah, the Bible that your church hand selected. Yeah. A lot of it's sketch. You know what I mean? Come on, dude. Let's just be honest.
the apostles are bullshit. He dogs on Paul, a saint of the church, and you're gonna sit there and go, "Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I just want to hang out. I just want to hang out with you, bros." Right?
Right. Yeah, we could talk about each other's viewpoints. You know what I mean? We can have an exchange. I've had an exchange with many intelligent Christian folk. You know, they've improved my understanding on these things so that I don't just go around and say, oh, yeah, Paul's dumb or Paul doesn't know what he's talking about or Paul's the Antichrist or anything stupid like that. You know, I understand the historical value of a lot of his statements, right? So, you know, when I actually expound on these things, people get value from my understanding of these things. I mean, that's why, I mean, where's your exegesis of Paul? I mean, you got anything on Acts? And, you know, Wizard had to sit there and tell you his 3 conversion stories in Acts. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, let's not play here. You don't read the Bible. You know, you're standing behind something you don't fucking read.
I'm trying to understand his viewpoint so I know where
you don't understand the Islamic. Do you need to go to TML to understand the Islamic viewpoint? Really?
I'm trying to help TML. Dumb shit.
Oh,
there you go. Right. If you want to inquire about somebody's level of understanding or try to challenge their level of understanding and improve it, you know, that's a task of, you know, obviously the highest sort of, you know, compassion for that person. You know what I'm saying, right? For real. You know, like sometimes tough love is better than, you know what I mean? Niceties, exchanging niceties, you know. But yeah, you know, I mean, I like how he understands that I allow different points of view. You know what I mean? And especially the type that challenge my own.
Really, you're trying to help him.
Yeah.
No, you weren't. Nothing you've done over there. You just sat there and like cucked out to him.
What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do?
Yeah, what are you trying to do?
What am I trying to do?
Yeah, what's your purpose on this stream right now? What are you trying to do?
What's my purpose on the stream?
Yeah.
I'm just sharing my experience with you.
Oh, your experience.
Yeah. What's your experience, Rocky?
My testimony, you mean?
What's your experience, though, Rocky? What's your experience?
I got a lot of experiences. Do you base your
Listen to this little fuck talking to this old ass man like this, dude, about his experiences? Come on, dude. Who do you think has more real life experiences? Let's just be honest.
on your experiences?
No, I'm asking you your experiences.
Yeah, you know, a young man's knowledge cannot match an old man's, experience, right?
I don't want to get into them. You're here. You're here to share your.
Okay.
I'm not here to share my experience.
Well,
That
let me
you
tell you
were
something,
here to
Rocky.
share
Let me
your
tell you something, Rocky. Let me give you a hard truth here. Let me get these guys out of here so we can like get closer. Okay. So let me be very frank and clear about my words here. Jesus was not a capitalist. Jesus preached a selfless gospel about.
What the fuck does interjecting your modern ideologies into the Bible, into an ancient text, have to do with this conversation at this moment? When you're calling the man a heretic, what the fuck does that have to do with it?
About taking care of your brothers and sisters. Do you understand that?
So you're going to take care of your brothers and sisters, right?
That's correct.
How you doing that?
That's irrelevant.
No, you said you were taking care of
Me giving you the logistics of how I'm taking care of that sort of situation is irrelevant because it's an ongoing thing from here until I don't know.
So if I have capital,
I'm not going to give you some logistics change to what I've been doing.
If I have some capital, which means I own property and which means I own money or something, and I have capital and I want to help people, what do I do?
There's nothing wrong with. There's nothing. Okay, here we go. So we're getting somewhere here, right? We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere here, right? There's nothing wrong. Okay, let me just cut the music here because. All right. So Rocky, no, there's nothing wrong with you having money. No one ever said that. That's not my position. I don't think that's been anybody's position. Okay. My thesis, my very weak and sort of I don't know. Whatever. My thesis is that capitalism is the literal source of all real, localized, and nationwide struggles between people.
Huh? But you're not a communist. So what do you recommend? You know, we already heard him recommend hyper-capitalism, whatever that means, to destroy capitalism. Okay. That sounds foolhardy.
Whether it be economical or socio-political. That's what I believe. I believe that capitalism is in its complete form has destroyed the communal nature of humans. Destroyed the communal nature of humans.
What are you going to replace capitalism with? So if I want to trade my labor with someone else,
I don't need to give you a replacement to tell you that what we currently live in is fucking trash.
I don't
Well,
need to give
people
you an alternative for that. Do I?
just people abuse something doesn't mean
Oh,
it's
so
wrong.
your daughter's boyfriend, you know, he beats her all the time. But what else? What could you do? Let's think of a synonymous situation like that. You're in an abusive relationship, sir.
What's that got to do with capitalism? I don't understand.
Because capitalism is an abusive it's an economic abusive relationship.
No, people abuse capitalism.
Am I
Doesn't
hearing?
mean
Am I
capitalism
hearing
is
this
wrong.
correctly? He's mixing capitalism with the abuse of a woman, and now he's kind of in a Karen ideology. Like, I don't know. Like, it's kind of very, very. I mean, what is Toilet Cuck saying here? And this is very, very soy, very soy. And now we're like onto, oh yeah. It's like an abused woman, capitalism to the people. What is going on here? This is very, very sad. You know what I mean? What is happening? You know, this is a really weak, limp-wristed ideology, right?
Can abuse.
Capitalism is literally required of you to devalue labor for profit. That's literally the whole thing. This is a let me tell y'all something about capitalism speed run. It is devalue labor for profit. Period. That's it. You don't need to go to fucking some Stanford class. That's it.
Well, you have a different definition than me.
That's it.
All.
That's it.
You have a different definition. That's not my definition.
Yeah, your definition is a very coaxed and very your shoulders are rubbed into that. I know that by your programming. I get it. Razvan is still.
I don't understand how a conversation on Bible heresy turned into one on capitalism. I really actually don't. And this has happened like 3 different times on the show. I actually don't even know where he's going with this. I can't tell if he's trolling or just what this is at this point.
Still in here. I'm gonna give Razvan. What's up, Razvan? You're still in here. Sorry. I had to talk to Rocky about this because he's calling our Lord and Savior some sort of fucking Bill Gates fucking person, and I find personal offense to that. Jesus wasn't no capitalist, and this guy is absolutely fucking out of his mind. Is that your flat Earth map behind you? Is that the one you look at, Rocky? Is that it? I mean, is that it? Am I looking at it?
What's that got to do with what we're talking about?
I'm looking at it. Is that the flat? Is it what is that? Is that your flat Earth map? Hello? Are you?
What do you
Hello?
think it is?
What is that? Is that a flat Earth map?
Yeah, what do you think it is?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me? I'm asking you.
So basically, Rocky just exposing him for being a child at this point. This shit is hilarious.
Flat Earth map, yeah.
Yeah. Can we get a close up on it? Who made that map? Who made that map? All right, there we go. You're a good sport, Rocky. Right on, man. You're a good sport. Let's see what we got.
That's all the closer I can get. My cable is only that long.
Why don't you bring the poster over here?
Oh, it's stapled.
Oh, okay.
This is
looks good though, man. I appreciate you showing me that. That's great.
This is my bunker.
This is your bunker? Where's your wife at?
She's up in the cabin.
Oh, so she's gonna get eaten while you're in the bunker?
No, I've
Yeah,
got
that's
shot.
fucked up.
We got a timber shepherd and a pit bull. She's safe. Nobody fucks with me around here.
Yeah, they can
Also,
just shoot
you're
the
off
dog.
grid.
But they could just shoot the dogs. Why wouldn't they just shoot the dogs?
Nobody messes with me up here. They know
You're in
better.
you're in the basement though. If they walked in right now, what were you gonna do?
I'm in town. I'm in town.
You're in town? What does that even mean? You're
My
not
wife.
you're not at
I
your
have-
wife's house right now? What if your wife gets fucking some strange Inuit fucking Native American whatever?
I don't know, dude. It just sounds like none of that is your business. Like, weren't you having a discussion about religion or some shit? And then it devolved into capitalism, and now you're talking about his lifestyle. I actually have no idea what this dude's on. Look at his eyes. Look at the eyes.
A crisis actor, whatever, coming at your house, trying to attack your wife. You're not even at your house. Rocky, are you at your house where your wife is at right now?
No.
What are you doing hanging out at this flat earth fucking map house that you're in right now? You should be going
I
back
live
to
off
your
grid. I got 40 acres. I live off grid. My wife's 3 miles up the road. This is where I get internet.
But why are you so far away from your wife? Do you not like your wife?
I'm 65 years old, man. My wife and me are.
How long have you
having
been married to your wife?
like 35 years.
35 years.
Yeah.
It's based. It's all right.
That is very impressive. Yes. Yeah, bless Rocky and his sweet old lady. Bless you guys.
I have to give you a commending there.
I have
That
7
that
children.
is that is 100% based, sir. I salute you, Mr. Rocky.
Seven children.
That is absolutely impressive.
I
Based.
raised 7 children off grid. I raised 7 children off grid. They're all grown up.
Rocky's base.
That's great.
They're all grown
That's
up
great.
and they all work for themselves. They don't need me except for one. I got one, my oldest son. He's
Rocky,
like,
you're based, man.
That's right, bitch ass punk. You finally realize who the fuck you've been screaming at for the past fucking hour. You're trying shutting the fuck up and listening to people next time.
I got you all wrong. You're based. You take care of your family. Based, but your theology is definitely fucked up. But you're definitely a based old man. Let me tell you that right now. And you're based. I appreciate you taking care of your family and doing all
God
that good
has
stuff,
blessed
man.
God
Yeah,
has
man.
blessed me.
Well,
God
God's
has
blessed
blessed
me with you being here. I think that this is a blessing in itself that me and you get to hang out and talk to each other and work this out. However fucking stupid, maybe off track,
Blessed by heresy.
either of us can be. I think,
I like how Toilet Bowl's humbled himself at this moment.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm
not
fine with it. I'm cool with that. I could be a stupid idiot. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm not trying to change your beliefs or nothing. I'm just trying to.
We
put out
believe in the
my-
same. We believe in the same stuff, though. You know what I mean? We shouldn't
Yeah, we
have
believe in
that
the
much.
faith. Yeah, we believe in Jesus.
That's right. He's our Lord and
Yeah.
Savior, right? We believe that, right?
Yeah,
We
I'm-
believe.
yeah.
We believe. Yeah, right.
I confess
so
Christ
we're-
as my Lord and Savior.
So we're not far off, man. We're good. We're brothers. It's okay. That's why I enjoy talking to you. So regardless if we don't agree on whatever doctrine, you're still
Oh.
my brother.
He's
And-
moved
and-
to Cupcake.
And anybody that proclaims
He's moved to the Cupcake Factory. Let's see what else is going on here.
Yo, what's
Can't
up?
hardly do-
Yo, what's up, Bex? Have a weird sleep schedule today. So like that's the only reason why I'm awake right now. Otherwise I'd be
Or what you understand.
for Cash App works if you have a VPN in your life. Man.
Couldn't that
A conversation with Bex. Do I want to sit here and watch that? I think I'll pass. I think I'll fucking pass. um, you know, I got a capitalism thing if anybody wants. You know what I mean? You guys want that? You know, capitalism thing. You guys want to talk about this? I know I might want to come up. Yeah. Christ and capitalism. But yeah, I'm not gonna be talking for long. This is just a test stream. But yeah, it is what it is. Let me see what's going on the missing link. I was on the missing link last night. Son of a bitch. Okay, yeah, let's go to this video here. I was on the missing link last night. Yo, what's going on, dude?
Hey, what's up?
Hey. Yeah, check this fucking video out, dude. This is crazy stuff. This is also from the video I was just watching, you know. But it's from a different part of the video.
By the way, on that last part, TB is one of those Jesus was a communist hippies. He thinks that Jesus was preaching communism because of the one time he invoked it.
It's crazy. He gets deep into like his I don't know if it's a LARP. It could be a LARP because he just came out of nowhere with this shit. So I don't know. I'm guessing it's a LARP, but I don't know how because he doesn't have the ideological like, you know, like it's not like he's like lib or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Right?
It's actually kind of a sad side effect of some Christians because again they take out of context what happened when he invoked his followers to sell everything they had and follow him, because Jesus had a special mission for preaching the gospel. He wasn't teaching all humans that, you know, you're all to be communists from now on. He was teaching just those special followers to basically abandon their day-to-day life because they had a very special purpose to fulfill. But that was it. So some Christians think that means communism because they didn't actually keep reading the rest of the words.
Yeah,
but they kissed and made up at the end, so it was a
But
happy.
they got deep into it. He got deep into it here on a part where he didn't even have a panel. You know, he was watching this verbal combat, and first he says you got to use hyper capitalism to destroy capitalism. I don't know if you saw that, if you saw me play that, but yeah, that is shocking. That's accelerationism. So I was like, holy
Yeah,
guacamole.
that's communist bullshit. It's
I was like, yo, that's that's crazy. That's like postmodernist shit.
that goes back into Marxism and stuff, which, like I said, is that's
Yeah,
the
that's
problem.
like, yeah, that's on some neo-Marxism, you know. Like
Also,
that's on
Jesus
some, like,
wasn't a Marxist either, but I'm sure TBE would claim that as well.
yeah, it's what.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, he had me up there and I was trying to share a passage with him explaining what capitalism is. His definition of capitalism is fucking weird. I mean, you don't even know what it means.
He's one of those like monopoly communists who thinks that capitalism is why there's greed in the world and shit like that. You know, he's one of those people.
Yeah, that's what he says. That's what he says. Yeah.
But there's no greed in socialism. It's just all, you know, hippies braiding each other's hair and shit, you know. Just like Stalin and Mao, you know, all those hippies that share the wealth. We need
I
more
was trying to,
socialism in the world.
yeah, I go into these places and I try to understand where a person's coming from. And I didn't understand he was coming from that communist. I didn't know he was a communist.
Clearly he is. I mean, he's trying to argue that Jesus is a communist. That's what he was trying to convince you of. But anyways, it's taken
kind of
out of
weird.
context.
I mean, it's just kind of strange that after he did that whole thing, he said he doesn't support communism, but
Oh
he's
well,
against.
they
He
always
says he's
backpedal.
against. yeah, he says he's against capitalism, but not for communism. So I don't know where he would be at then. It would be some kind of
Just a
you know,
socialist in general.
so socialism. Yeah. So basically,
I think
so
he's
basically,
misinterpreting that scripture that talks about Jesus and like a commune where everybody put their money together to help the new church, and it was calling for donations, and then it was he thinks that means it's communism.
He's probably referring to when Jesus told some of his followers to sell everything they own and give it away to the poor or whatever, because he was basically telling those people following him that they were on a very special mission to, preach the gospel. And so they don't need to be tied down to like their 9 to 5 jobs or whatever, or worry about their assets or their money or anything like that. So
Right.
that is a very different case than Jesus telling all humans to now become communists, and that we are all to not own money or property or anything like that, that's the bullshit part, which, if you don't actually read the Bible, that's the kind of stuff you pull out of it. You just take like
Yeah,
one
and
verse out of context.
I showed him the scriptures of the parable of the vineyard landowner, and trying to show him like, look at this, read this, and oh no, I can't read that because
Oh, that's capitalism evil.
yeah.
But anyways, the reason why there's still a debate is because socialists always have to play word games. They always make it sound like capitalism equals greed. That's their definition. They don't actually define it properly, and so private
I noticed.
ownership,
I noticed you
voluntary.
there on the verbal combat as well. On
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
screen.
This one's about libertarians versus authoritarians, so you'll get a kick out of that because Andrew loves paying taxes and having boots to lick. So uh, he's
Well, it's
gonna.
part of the TBE rant. But yeah, feel free to pause this, or tell me to pause it whenever you guys want. But yeah, this is basically his rant that he gave. It's interesting.
It is a psyop played on everybody in America. It is what drives the corruption in the world. Period. The idea that I don't know what this is. You claim a free market, but it's not a free market.
Okay, so it's a problem that it's not a free market, and then later he says that there's no such thing as true capitalism. So
No one debates laissez-faire capitalism. That's a pipe dream, and it's not practical. You can have reasonable capitalism where you're not allowed to kill people and steal their shit. You can still have rule of law and capitalism. They're not incompatible.
Right. Laissez-faire as in free enterprise.
Laissez-faire capitalism basically says there are no rules. The only rule is profit, and that's stupid because no one believes in that or supports that theory.
Yeah, that's not my definition of capitalism.
Right. So if you're talking to reasonably intelligent people, they will immediately talk about the rule of law. You're not allowed to kill people or steal their shit. And as long as you abide by those rules, then you can access the free market and privately own your land, your labor, your fruit, and then voluntarily exchange goods and services. That's all capitalism is.
Yeah, it's just a means of exchange
Through the open free market. And so that's capitalism. That's what socialists hate so much because they can't control it and they can't steal your shit and call it taxes or whatever. They always want to control, regulate, and steal everything. And that's why they have to play these word games and say capitalists are greedy, but we socialists are very compassionate and charitable. We'll end poverty and all that bullshit. And that's where communism starts.
Yeah, I think he doesn't understand that the United States is not using cap. It's more socialist than it is capitalist right now.
Right.
like,
It used to be capitalist, but it's slowly
yeah.
being taken over by the socialists. I agree.
So he thinks that what he's living in now is capitalism, free market, but it's not. It's basically already like 50% socialist. They steal
And,
your tax.
and there is a legitimate debate among capitalists about good capitalism and bad capitalism. So the only way you can fuck up capitalism is to allow a monopoly to form and or cronyism, which is when a private organization colludes with an authoritarian government to fuck up the economy. That's bad capitalism. That's the only way you can fuck up capitalism, is to allow those things to happen. So that's what they always try to argue. That's what true capitalism is. This is why you can't have capitalism. No, you just can't allow authoritarian governments and socialists to fuck up the economy.
We'd have to go
That's
back
about
thousands of years to like undo that.
that's about 85% of the capitalism that's taking place in the United States right now. Is those two things that you just mentioned.
That's the problem. We have to get rid of cronyism and
Right.
monopolies.
Have you guys ever read the book? Have you ever read the book Capitalism by Ayn Rand?
I've heard of it. I haven't read that one yet.
I read Atlas Shrugged. It's a big anti communist. But I also wanted to mention that the other big thing that socialists don't like is religion.
Oh yeah, that's definitely hand in hand.
Yeah, whenever you see these people take over any countries, they go out of their way to disrupt or flat out ban any type of organized religion, because you are supposed to be worshiping the state. That is your god.
That's socialism 101. That's day one. The first thing they do is
Yeah.
eliminate capitalism and then eliminate religion on the same
Yeah,
day.
and there's a good ideological and philosophical like basis for why that is, and it has to do with Hegel. But I mean, I've talked about it a little bit on this show, but yeah, I mean, essentially, as you said, they go hand in hand. I mean, it's essentially works better as an atheist ideology, for all intents and purposes. So that is one of the main factors there.
I think too, like in a way, you can kind of say it's like the NFL or something along an organization like that, where like you go to an NFL game and you watch two teams and they're supposed to be opposing each other. Did we forget that it's all the NFL? Like it's still under the umbrella, And
Well,
there's like a false separation that they prey on in people's brains based on locations, anything.
Well, my definition of capitalism, it doesn't have to do with the form of like, okay, we're supposed to have free enterprise, laissez-faire capitalism, but there's also communist capitalism where the state owns all the capital and they are the masters. They're like, they own the capital, therefore they spend it it's like government, like it's a perversion of, like the state is perverted, but they still use capitalism.
Yeah, state capitalism is one of those oxymorons. It's better described as fascism. It's basically when socialists try to bullshit you into thinking you're in a capitalist country. So when the government engages in capitalism, that's not capitalism, that's socialism. So capitalism is when the private individuals are able to own their land, labor, and fruit, and then engage in the open free market. So if the government seizes the means of production, that is socialism. That's where they end capitalism, and now the government controls it, regulates it, and owns it.
Yeah. Well, my definition of capitalism is capital means money. So capitalism means whoever has the money, capital, whoever has the capital controls. Like if you're a private individual, it's your capital. You get to do whatever you want with it because you earned it. It's yours. So you're the owner of the capital. So
and if the government owns it and seizes
if the government owns it, they're still using money as a means of exchange. Like China's on the stock market. No, it's like it's just a means. It can be used for evil or good. Capitalism is a
Oh yeah, China definitely exploits the free market. So that there's nothing that prevents socialist countries from exploiting the free market. So they can do business with capitalist countries, for example, like America, and pretend like they're capitalists, but no private citizen in China is allowed to own land or their business or their profit. It's completely owned by the state.
Well, you're pretty much not allowed to do that here either.
Well, it's a gray area because like you can
Yeah.
argue that you're allowed to privately own land in America, but not really because you have to rent it from the government.
Well,
'cause
let's not
you're
argue because
paying.
there's really no
Yeah.
argument really.
well.
You got to
There's a
continually
small
pay
argument.
taxes on
Sorry, go ahead.
everything you own in America. Everything you own in America, you're paying taxes on it. Other than like simple shit that they don't care about, like your clothes or whatever.
I just
There is
can't
a way
forget.
to
Go
be-
ahead.
There's a way to be exempt from taxes on your land. It's called a land patent. So you put a land patent, which is totally what America was supposed to be. You get a allodial title, you own it, which means it can't be taxed. That's called a land patent. If you get a land patent, then you own it, and supposedly they're not supposed to be able to tax it. That's what I just ordered 2 books on land patent. I'm going to do a land patent on my land.
Yeah,
Therefore,
but
it's
how common and easy is that to achieve? Because
Right. And you're
again,
definitely not talking about if you have any type of resources on your land, right?
like
it takes
buildings and access to roads or whatever.
responsibility. Sometimes when you have a responsibility, it takes work. If you want to put your land in a land patent, it's going to take you to be responsible and to do it. That way, every generation, your children, it will be owned without taxes. You got
And
to
this is
put a
probably not in
Good
city
point, good
limits
point.
or anything like that.
Yeah, until you strike oil or water on that land, in which case the government owns your
no.
ass.
In which
You
case
can
you call
get
this panel and we all show up and help get the profits shared correctly.
you get mineral rights. You get mineral rights. You can also do a mining patent, which is if you find land on Forest Service, you can get a mining permit to mine the
From the
minerals out of
government.
it.
The government
Yeah,
gives you
yeah,
permission to own and,
yeah.
and
No.
run your land. That's the
But
problem. You
but who
always
prints
have to get their
the money though?
permission
Like
first.
we're all asking, like these are all good points, but like no, we don't print the money, dogs. Like the system is on an exterior money printing, blood drinking system, and a piece of paper isn't going to change it, but like, yeah, it is cool though. I
Hey,
like
Chad,
Rock's information.
why don't you come up on panel and explain your statement there?
I think his statement's on point. He like he's talking about the root of capitalism and communism being in the I guess in the liberal ideology. 16th century. He's talking about the outgrowth of just
course.
yeah.
Well, I agree with Rocky's sentiment that there probably are ways to slowly claw back your freedom and your individual rights and stuff like that. That's the problem, is you have to like know all these like lawyer loophole tricks to even get to that point. It's not like the default position where you just automatically, own your shit and don't have to pay taxes on it.
Well, that's the way it was back in like the 1800s and shit.
Well, Cecil, when this country was formed, there was no income tax. So, shit
Right.
has changed
People-
severely since the beginning of this
People knew the law back then. That the children knew more about law than adults do now. You have to study, things if you want to learn about them, and it takes responsibility, or you got to take responsibility for the future of your children. And so what do? You I'm not really doing this for me, but I've been thinking, if I die, my children have to pay an inheritance tax unless I give it to them 7 years before. So if I give it to them now and I live 7 years, then they don't have to pay inheritance tax. But that's not the way.
There's another example. There's like a trust fund loophole trick you can use.
There's a lot of loopholes I've heard about. Yeah.
But you have to know all that stuff. You have to have like a high priced lawyer do all this paperwork
No,
for you. And
I'll tell you guys
all that
one.
stuff.
What I'm telling you is I found out a way through a U.S. Through a land patent that you can do basically yourself. You just file it at the county clerks, and you give them notice that you're filing a patent, and then they have to record it. And if they refuse to record it, you show them that they have to record it, and then
Is there
it's
a bunch of
recorded.
caveats that come with that? Like, is there like, fine
I
print
don't know
that
yet.
you have to qualify for? Or?
I just ordered the book. I haven't received it yet. So
one way. Go ahead. Sorry, man. I'm sorry.
There's almost always a catch. Like, it's never that easy. They won't just like let you check a box and then you don't have to pay taxes. It's more like
they
you
don't.
have to
They don't.
qualify for special conditions and a bunch of weird shit.
You have to have the paperwork, and it has to be recorded, and they don't want to record it. That's the thing. You have to show them that they have to record it. If they don't, they're breaking federal law. And I haven't got the book yet, so I'll let you know more about it when I get the book.
And you just pointed out that you're probably doing this somewhere out in the county. Again, like I said, what if you were in city limits and you own property? Can you do it there?
Are we just talking about property? Because I know a way. I heard a way actually that you what you can do is you can buy like jewelry, like a collection of jewelry, and then you actually put it in your living will that it belongs to whoever else, but you're just holding on to it.
Yeah, it's just lawyer tricks, like I said. You have to
I mean,
find
it's
all
not.
these loopholes.
I got a friend who's a lawyer, could probably write that up in like 20 minutes.
My point is the average citizen does not know these things, nor will they do it by default. Like, they have to find a lawyer to tell them all these tricks, how to avoid all this bullshit. It's
yeah,
not
and
default
then
decision.
and then it's like finding a lawyer who is not politically aligned this way or that, right?
And who won't report you to the IRS for trying to do this shit.
Right.
I didn't get told. I didn't get told by a lawyer though. I got told by like a gemstone collector.
Well, he probably knows a lawyer buddy or something like that.
Oh
that's
yeah,
usually
yeah.
how they find
have.
out this stuff.
Yeah, there's
Because
yeah.
the system is designed to bleed you dry by default. Like, if you do nothing but just obey the law, they're gonna bleed you dry. Period. You have to do like all this research and become your own private investigator to figure out how not to get fucked.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I said the other day that a lot of people wouldn't even be alive today if it wasn't for the system, because this system that is propagated keeps these weak people actually, these weak thieving people, it actually it allows them to live. Like, they wouldn't even be, I don't even think they'd really, like, half of them would go away if the system didn't support the dishonesty.
That's the only thing socialism produces is parasites. Government doesn't produce anything. It just takes from you and spends your money somewhere else.
Kinda, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't give you anything. Like, it doesn't.
And it's all
it acts as a fake provider.
It's all the centrists that defend this shit because they say, well, we wouldn't have roads or buildings without taxes, and that's bullshit because we had the best roads and buildings without government.
Hold on. Okay, because like government is necessary, but not on the scale that it it is right now.
The only thing we need government for is the rule of law. That's all we need government for, and to enforce our borders. That's about it.
It's
Everything
just
is
paperwork and records and shit like that, and it's not supposed to be anywhere near the size that it is right now.
And regulations.
Right?
The Bible gave us an example. The Bible gave us an example of how big government should be when the Israelites they had to tithe 10%. That was a tax. So government should be a 10% across the border tax. And
actually, that's a Jewish idea, not a Christian idea, but that's fine.
No, that came from the scriptures.
That's the Jewish law, not a Christian.
Yeah, it's an example. Everything's an example.
Yeah.
It's an example. Okay, so government should be small. It should be small. It should be 10% straight across the board, and then government can't grow that big if they only get 10%.
That's my point. As a libertarian, we should be arguing from the other direction, not using a big government as the default position, but no government as the default position, and then argue our way up to a government that we need in order to function as a country. That's the way we should be arguing.
I'm just saying that there's an
Here
example.
in Oregon, we got like Portland, right? Is like the biggest city over there. The city of Portland's budget is like, I think they said it was like 1 point something billion a year, right? Then you've got this extra layer of totally useless government that doesn't even need to exist called the Metro. That's another 12 billion budget per year. And
Wait until you hear about the federal numbers.
Right. But Portland has like one of the most out of control homelessness situations. Crime is rampant. It's a bunch of parasites that basically don't do shit. They just suck taxpayers' money.
But Cecil, they're going to end poverty. You just got to keep sending them more money. Any minute now, they're going to end all poverty.
I know. Any second, everything's going to be fine.
It's a bunch of crooks. Yeah. It's basically fascism.
It didn't work with Stalin. It didn't work with Mao or Pol Pot. But these guys are going to get it right. If they just try real communism, this time it'll work.
I think America's kind of like fascist. Like if you do the research, the county has stock in all these things that are traded on the. So they own so much AT&T. They own so much of this stuff. So it's like if the court goes up, if you go against AT&T in their courts, you're screwed because they own stock in AT&T, and it's like they that's how they pay their slush funds is they own these stocks,
and they got senators in their pocket because of cronyism.
I think that there's this perception of fascism that it's like this extreme form of it's mostly communists that talk shit about fascists. And it's just like this, they view it or have promoted the idea that it's this extreme opposite of communism. So it's like super capitalism.
When in reality, there's a very fine line between the two. Fascists and communists are almost identical twins. They have
they're both socialists. They're all this is socialism.
They're both authoritarian socialists, which are the worst kind.
Yeah. And so what I was explaining is that's how they hide their money, because they have a 2-book system. It's called if you look at a CAFR, which is the Comprehensive Financial Report, it tells you what all so you look up the county or you look up the school district, they have a separate CAFR, and it tells them all the property they own, all the stock they own. And then you see, damn, the government owns all the stock. Between all the municipalities, the districts, schools, the counties and the cities and the states, they own all the stock. It's a conglomerate of fascism. And so if you are an American citizen and you go against one of their stockholders, which would be, like any corporation, like if you go and some corporation is suing, they will back the corporation because they own it's part of it's fascism. Yeah. It's socialism.
This is why our political system is fucked, by the way, because they keep lying to you and telling you that the bad guys are Democrats and the good guys are Republicans, when in reality, they're basically identical twins.
They're all in on it.
They just differ on little insignificant things. So it's like debating communists between fascists. Which one do you want to vote for? When in reality, the opposite of those two is libertarian capitalists, like Ron Paul, for example. If you had Ron Paul versus Donald Trump versus Joe Biden, then you would actually see what the real battle's like. Because voting Biden or Trump ain't going to change anything in this country. You're going to keep getting the same bullshit we had for the past 50 or 60 years, or even 80 to 100 years.
Remember that Trudeau?
I think that you're conflating fascism with corporatism.
Those go hand in hand. Those are basically the same thing.
No, no,
saying.
true fascism doesn't allow 85% of what most capitalists want to do.
Fascists
No.
are socialists trying to bullshit people into thinking you're a capitalist country. So basically, when the government takes power and seizes all the businesses, they pretend
They don't
that
seize all the
some
businesses.
that
They
some
don't seize all
people
the businesses.
they pretend that some people are allowed to privately own things.
No, no, some people are allowed to privately own things as long as you're not fucking up the people that are being governed over.
If
So
if only
Yeah,
take
but
over,
what
real
I'm
fascists
telling
take
you
over
is if you
and
look at
ban
the chapter,
corporatism, crony
you look at
capitalism,
the chapter,
and
the
very
comprehensive
businesses that
financial
are fucking up
report.
people.
If you look
Cecil,
at the chapter, the comprehensive financial report, it shows that our government owns 80% of all the stock, the land, it and that's not capitalism, that's fascism.
so
Which
Cecil,
is
if only
socialism.
certain people are allowed to privately own things, that's not capitalism. That's bullshit fascism, which
Well,
means
no, it's based on
only
their criteria,
some
not like
people.
no, technically that's like monarchism actually, but it's based on a criteria, not by who you are.
It's more of an oligarchy, but it doesn't matter who the special group is. Either everyone gets to allow has private ownership, or no one does. It's not
Well,
a
I
some
think
people.
this will probably pique your interest a little bit better. The group that's allowed to own businesses are only allowed to own businesses under wholesome Christian values and not things that fuck up the society. How does
No,
that
no,
sound?
no, 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 no,
I
no.
know
That's
you
No,
want it, big boy.
that's
Come
fascism.
on,
That's
Ca-
fascism.
Christian capitalism, baby.
That's
You know what
fascism,
I'm
Drake.
saying?
That's why it's
That
not
is not
capitalism.
fascism. Too many people, a bunch of capitalists, or I'm sorry, a bunch of communists muddied the waters with fascism.
That's
And
what I just said, Cecil. The reason why they trick you into thinking it's fair is because they use the word capitalism. They say you can privately own this thing. Like in
well, you
China,
can,
when they told Jack Ma, the owner of Alibaba, they said you privately can own this company. And then as soon as he started making millions of dollars, the government seized his company and said, "Now we own your shit." That's what true
yeah,
socialism is.
I
They don't
think
care
now
about.
they call it, I think it's called corporatism now, where the corporate owns everything. Corporations own everything, but who controls it at the top? That's the
If they can
who's
just seize your business,
there's
it's not
always
capitalism.
a socialist, communist,
well,
freaking
you're
someone at
right. It's either the government. Well, now corporatism has gotten so bad that the corporations control the government. It's a
Cronyism.
totally unelected entity controlling the government.
That's cronyism. And we already talked about that's the problem with capitalism. If they can collude with an
Oh, that's
authoritarian
what
government,
crony
it will
capitalism is.
fail.
So that's what you call crony capitalism.
It's when
Right.
the private corporations collude with the government to affect the market.
Yeah,
It's cronyism.
yeah. It's like
That's what they that's how they define capitalism. They're saying that's what capitalism is.
Corporations decide who we go to war with. Corporations decide our government's laws. You
well,
know,
it's like those that
yeah.
the farm animal. Remember the farm animal
Yeah, just
story about the farm animals?
yeah, Animal Farm. Yeah, we
Animal
remember that
farm.
one.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to know who and what you're arguing against. If you're arguing against socialists trying to play word games about fascism and stuff like that, then that's why the general public gets confused and they say, "Well, it sounds like capitalism's pretty corrupt, so maybe we should try something else." And then
Yeah.
that's how they sell you into socialism, and that's why people defend socialism. They're like, "Oh, look, we're going to end poverty, and now we get free education and free healthcare, and the roads are nice, and we have pretty buildings because of socialism. Yay!"
Yay.
And then Stalin and Mao show up, and they're like, "Oh shit, we didn't know this was part of socialism. We thought it was just going to end poverty." And then you get
Yeah.
into more poverty than you had before with capitalism because everyone's starving to death because the
60
party
million.
takes all the money because they're the government and they have a monopoly on force. And
Yeah.
now you can't own guns, and then they don't even have to use tanks to kill you. They have knives and they can take over you because you don't even have a gun to
It's the
defend yourself.
animal farm. It's the animal farm, just like the animal. They come pretending to be the,
Yeah.
and then
Just-
once they get in control of their wolves, and you're all the little pigs out there ready
Yeah,
for
just
slaughter.
the forelegs. We're protecting all the forelegs. Those 2 legs are bad. We will never become 2 legs. And then the pigs start walking on 2 legs, and you're like, "What the fuck? You just said you weren't going to do that." But yeah, anyways, that's socialism for you. Perfectly surmised. Anyways, if anyone knows what they're talking about, this isn't that hard to figure out because again, capitalism is the best system. It's not perfect. It's not flawless, but it's better, way better than socialism. It's not even a
Well,
competition.
I'd like to see what you think because it gets a lot worse. His kind of because they connected to the Bible, as I said, all that type of stuff. So it's interesting.
Absolute farce. It's an absolute fucking sham. It's a sham on everyone. Decency. And again, I will go back to what I was originally saying. Please tell me what dude determined the value of my labor. Where is that fucking person? You know what I'm saying? Where is that person? Where is he? Well, who is that? Let me know where he's at. Who's that person?
The landowner, dummy.
No, what I'm saying is, the Bible tells us that money is the root of all evil. Okay, if that's
Okay, pause right there, machine.
if that's a foundation.
First of all, the scripture says the love of money is the root of all evil, not money, you fucking retard. So, anyways, again, Jesus didn't say you
second
can't
of
have
all,
money. He just said the love of money is the root of all
yeah,
evil.
but the scripture goes
Greed.
even deeper. It goes, it's the love of money that's the root of all kinds of evil. In the Greek, it specifically says, it doesn't say it's the root of all, the love of money is the root of all evil. It says it's the root of all kinds of evil. So I
And
remember
again,
that too.
And again, the scripture's talking about greed, not wealth. Owning money doesn't make you evil, but
Right.
worshiping your money makes you evil. That's what greed is.
Yeah.
I thought the actual line says what men will do for money is the root of all evil. Not the money itself, but what men will
Greek,
do with
I
another man.
remember specifically in the Greek studying, it says the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil.
Correct. And again, it's talking about greed, not having money does not make you evil.
King David was rich,
Yep. Solomon was pretty rich too, and he was a nice guy. So it's what you do with your money, not having money. And also it's not worshiping your money because there's lots of humans worship money. Like that is their god. And so that's the root of evil.
It's just a tool. It's just a fucking tool.
Yep. You could say also say the same about power because money is a form of power, but
Yeah, it's a medium of power.
You can use it for good. You can use it for evil. It's how you use it. Don't abuse it. Something like that, I think.
But yeah, I think we cleared that up, machine. So you can go ahead and unbother if you want to. Sorry.
Of something we're talking about. Then what is when we translate that, we transpose it or transcribe it to something like capitalism? What is capitalism about? Capitalism is about profit. Period. It's an inhuman form of production. It's a spreadsheet, humanistics, it doesn't make any sense. So I don't know.
So he's also demonizing profit, like profit's evil or something. What? Yeah, profit is not evil. It's normal. You gotta work. You want to make a little profit. Yeah, he demonizing
Again,
the money.
he's already led you down this rabbit hole. Like, we already debunked it from the beginning, but he wants to take you even deeper into the bullshit, so you don't even know what words mean anymore. But
Yeah.
of course, profit is not evil, because every time you grow some crops, anytime you grow more food than you can eat, that's profit. So, that doesn't make you evil. You can give it away to some poor people, you can save it for later, whatever. The profit itself is not evil. So again, just
Right.
completely retarded.
Let me play some more of this. It's not. That has nothing to do with what Flow State said. Flow State said, yeah, we can hear you. Flow State had said that the harm that it causes is removing responsibility for your actions.
Right.
So, what you said is not.
Let me explain.
Okay, go ahead.
So the way that that's one way that you're disassociating. So
We're at the other end of the circle.
Do you call that a mustache?
We're at the wrong side of the circle. Sorry, it's circular. We'll get there eventually.
So your actions,
You'll be able to grow.
Yeah, y'all are making so many good comments in here. I gotta just stop. I gotta stop the show because y'all are making some great comments here. Let me look at some of these. Yeah, prophet of God. Everything is a commodity. That's literally anti-capitalism. It can be commodified. Think about how fucked up that is. You can commodify anti-capitalism. Period. That's the disease. That's the snake. That's the snake in the garden. Again, snake in the garden happens all throughout our life, and we know it. We know it when we fail. We know it when we chose right, and when we chose right, we feel righteous. But now there's lots of the
commodity.
Lots of the garden.
I don't even know what the fuck that means. What does that even fucking mean?
It's a snake in the garden.
It's a snake, man, in the garden. Don't you know what a snake in the garden is? It's the devil. If you make money, you're the devil.
Huh.
That's why you got to sell everything and be like Jesus and live off dirt.
Commodities are just like, grain, what you grow.
I think his commenter was trying to point out that you can commodify anything. That's kind of the idea of, like, fiat currency is just paper, but it's a commodity when you give it value. You're like, this is something I can exchange for, like, gold or sheep or whatever. Commodities in the traditional sense usually means actual goods, like, fruit and, material, lumber, stone, whatever. But if you value paper, then that's a form of commodity. But that's not the proper use of the word, because that's the difference between commodity and fiat currency. But you can commodify anything, essentially. I mean,
Well, why does it say prophet is God model? Like they're saying God's model is this fake paper money shit, or what?
I don't know. You have to ask.
Yeah, it's like some kind of mockery or something.
Again, there is an argument against the improper use of capitalism. If you worship money, then capitalism bad. I agree. So. But if you're not evil and retarded, capitalism good, and socialism's always bad. So it's not even a debate. even if you're holy, unless Jesus himself is directing you to engage in socialism, then socialism bad. But until that moment happens, capitalism is the default good position.
Right. Like republic is a good form of government.
It's private ownership, voluntary exchange of goods and services. That's all capitalism is. No matter what these retarded assholes keep trying to play word games with, that's not what it is. It's just private ownership and voluntary exchange of goods and services.
Right.
And if your motive is profit, good for you. Maybe someone else's motive is charity. Like, I can use capitalism to
Yeah.
feed the poor. So fuck
Right.
you and your bullshit. I don't have to play your word games. You can't change the definition of capitalism. You can argue, my motives. You can say my motives are impure or not good or whatever. That's fine. We'll debate that. But you can't
The welfare
change.
state. The welfare state. That's not capitalism.
Basically, socialists want to legislate morality. They want the government
Right.
to force you to distribute the
They don't.
goods.
They don't allow you to fail. Like you should be free to fail. Like if you starving to death and you can't make a living, well then you're gonna fail because you're stupid or something.
But the
Charity,
problem,
they've taken over charity. Charity good, welfare bad.
is it charity if the government takes your money and gives it to poor people?
No, that's welfare.
Exactly. So
Look,
you're not
welfare
even
bad,
engaging in charity. If the government
welfare
takes your
bad,
money,
charity's good. They stole charity from the church. The church used to be responsible for charity. So the government says, no, the church don't need it. The government's going to do it. We're going to create this welfare state and we'll take care of all the, and they don't, and taking care of them makes them lazy because the church taught if you don't work, you don't eat. If you want to live on my ranch, you're going to have to do a little work. But the welfare state said, just sit on your couch and smoke crack and we'll send you the fucking check every month. So they stole charity away from the church and, the state's in charge of it now. They call it the welfare. It's like and they use these words to twist like it's welfare. It's like for the welfare, but really it's just a trap. Communism, socialism, government taking one man's money and giving it to somebody else.
exactly. That's it. Communism is the highway robber who steals your money and says, "I'm going to give it to some poor guy, and therefore I'm justified in stealing your money." So it's like, no, that's not how charity works. First of all, and that doesn't also justify stealing. So double
It's that
whammy.
redistribution of wealth, comrade. Because you didn't make that money. You needed the government to help you make that money. See.
Also, the base model of communism always fails because it punishes people for doing good work and rewards lazy people for doing no work. So it's already failed from the beginning.
Ayn Rand talks about that in Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah. So
if every man by his, they prioritize need over skill. So the hyper skilled people are supposed to be giving all because they're clearly have from their point of view, have a unfair advantage because they're more skilled than everybody else. So since they make the most money, they need to redistribute their wealth to the most needy people. And then you have baby mama producing people and all this shit.
And Cecil, who gets to define need? Who gets to define that term?
Well, the needy.
Well, they tell you it's the community
the
or
government,
but
the party,
it's the government. Yeah.
The party, comrade. The party decides where the needs are.
Party, yeah.
There is a certain level of transparency, though.
No, there's not. Not in communist countries.
Well, they try to. What I mean is, they try to convince you that the redistribution is, because clearly this person with it just as a baby factory and pops out 8 babies needs it more.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's why they call it welfare. But it's really not well for the people or fair. It's not well or fair. Doesn't make the victims well, and it's not fair to the taxpayers. Got to give it to them, so they like twist it. It's like exactly the opposite of welfare.
It's the worst system. I agree. It shouldn't even be debated. It's so obviously failed and wrong, but some people are kind of slow.
Yeah, that's what Ron Paul was talking. Is just get rid of the welfare. It's not constitutional. First place, Constitution doesn't provide for welfare. Doesn't provide for a federal school system. It doesn't support Federal Bureau of Investigation. All these federal.
It provides for
They're not
social security,
constitutional.
right? It provides for social security, but social security is something that you've already paid into.
That's
That's
your
what-
money. That's not the government money. They're
Right.
just giving you your own money back, which what they shouldn't have taken in the first place. Because I have an IRA, I don't need the fucking government to save my money for me. I can do that myself. Thank you.
Right.
Also, they always keep the cream off the top because someone's got to do all that bureaucracy, and that bureaucracy isn't free, Cecil. So who's paying for that?
Right. Right. It's government parasites that all they do is paperwork all day, and they give themselves freaking thousands and thousands of dollar paychecks every month.
They don't make anything. They just take your money and spend it. That's all the government does. They don't produce anything. And in fact, they spend your money so fast, they're in debt now. They're $30 trillion in debt from spending your money so fast. They don't even hold themselves accountable. They don't give a fuck. They just print money, ruin your economy, and then take more of your money to pay it off.
Which is unconstitutional because it's supposed to be the treasury that prints money and makes money and is the control of the supply, and usually backed by some precious gold or silver, and
Not crony capitalism with big pharma and the Federal Reserve and the military industrial complex who are really running the government. Not
yeah,
your
the Federal Reserve is not a capitalist system. It's a
crony. It's a crony
right.
system, a privately owned organization running an authoritarian government. They collude with each other to fuck everyone.
The pre-1870 Constitution of the United States was pretty good in that and that's when the war started, the Civil War, and then where they by 1913 they had the International Bank Act, and they're trying to get and then Jekyll Island, and then so they got this fake thing. The Treasury is supposed to print the Treasury is supposed to do the money system, not a private system. So it's completely unconstitutional.
What wasn't the income tax? The original reason for that was to raise money for a war or something.
Yes, Lincoln started the income tax to pay for the Civil War.
Yeah, but by then
And then Woodrow Wilson codified it into law because Americans were dumb enough to sign up for this system. And the way they sold it, Cecil, was they promised only the rich people would be taxed, no poor people would get income tax. And how'd that work out, Cecil?
World War II volunteer. It was a World War II volunteer buy bonds for the war. It was a patriot type thing. It was supposed to be voluntary temporary tax.
No, not income tax. Lincoln started involuntary.
Yeah, but I'm talking
tax
about
to pay for the war, but it was a temporary measure. He said, "I'll only do this for the war. That's all I'm doing this for." But then Woodrow Wilson, a couple of years later, said, "No, we're going to make this part of the Constitution." So now that's an amendment that you have to pay it. It's required by law.
Yeah.
And all the Americans just sat by and allowed this to happen because they're only going to tax the rich. Don't worry, they'll never tax middle income or poor people.
Congress was out or something at that time, so Congress, it's like it was just a few voters in there, and they were all like they did it on like Christmas or something, and
hey, Rocky, we can always make excuses for complacency, but the fact that America didn't start a revolution the next day shows you how failed this country is.
Well, they just got over a civil war.
It shows you how failed this country is. If the same people who threw the Boston Tea Party over being taxed over tea were okay with the federal government taking your income as a tax, didn't throw a revolution the next day, shows you how failed this country is. It just completely failed at that point. That's when we became socialists. We with smiles and breads and circuses agreed to be socialists from that day forward.
Are there any IRS agents in chat or on panel?
Probably. They're probably tracing us right now and like we gotta audit these assholes. But yeah, that was the downfall of this country was
I haven't paid
Woodrow
income
Wilson.
tax. I haven't paid income tax for over 30 years.
Well, most people do, and so they don't
25
care.
years.
They don't care about the one or two that get away, Rocky. They care about the 99.99% of useful idiots that keep funding them.
Well, now I don't know if you guys heard, but Biden freaking just hired a whole bunch more IRS agents and
Of well-armed IRS agents, mind you.
right. Yeah.
Why would you need well-armed IRS agents, Cecil?
Well, if you know who they are, if you know who they are and what they're doing, and they come to your house and threaten you, well, you know who they are. Just take some of them out, man. You know.
But anyways, we lost that battle a long time ago, and now we're still bitching and arguing about whether or not we're still capitalists or not because of cronyism. Cronyism bad, therefore capitalism bad. We just need full socialism at this point. Yeah.
Okay, I just never knew what crony capitalism meant. Now, thanks for helping me with the
Cronyism
definition.
is when capitalists collude with an authoritarian government. Private companies, corporations collude with an authoritarian government to influence the market. So in other words,
Okay.
most governments do not allow monopolies to form in a fair capitalist system. Cronyist makes sure there's a monopoly formed with the government taking part of the cut to make sure that they are the only ones making the real profit. That's why everyone hates cronyist. Even capitalists hate cronyist because they're fucking up the system. It should not be that way, but that's what happens when evil retards take over even the best system. That doesn't mean socialism is better. It just means that there is a way to fuck up capitalism. It's not perfect. It's not flawless. It's not incorruptible. It's just the least corruptible system. So yeah, it is very important to know that, Rocky, because when people blindly defend capitalism as the one perfect system that will solve all human problems, that's not true. There is no system that's perfect and will solve all human problems. There are good systems and bad systems.
Well, there's one system that's the best.
Capitalism is the best system. There is no better form of economy than capitalism. There shouldn't even be a debate about it, but we have to debate it because of cronyism. That's why we have to debate it.
I was talking about government, the best form of government.
The best form of government is libertarian, by the way. It's a small, controllable government. By the people, for the people.
I like the monarchy.
No, that's authoritarian bullshit, dude. You don't want that.
If you're king, though, if your king is
under a quasi monarchy right now.
If your king is King Jesus, then it's a pretty good
Okay,
monarchy.
Rocky. When Jesus comes back, we'll anoint him king. But until then, fuck all the evil retards. They don't get to wear a crown. Don't bend the knee, Rocky.
Depends on the context.
Yeah, of course it depends on everything depends on context. Until Jesus comes back, Rocky, fuck the monarchy.
I think republic is better than this libertarian.
I agree.
bullshit.
A republic, a meritocracy formed republic of a libertarian government, small and controllable, is the best form of government that supports and protects capitalism. That's its only job, is to.
But I think we should start at 10%, not at 0. 10% flat tax.
Rocky, you can debate good and intelligent people about how much money the government deserves. I'll start with 0, and you can argue me up to 10. We'll see if we agree. How much does it cost to protect
argue me?
borders?
We'll start at 10, and you argue me down.
Okay. How much does it cost to protect our borders, Rocky? How much does the National Guard cost?
Well, I think service as like should be like if you become president, it should be you don't get paid.
Why do we need a president? What's his job? What is he going to
He's
do?
a representative, you know.
We can have a diplomat to represent our country with foreigners. That's very cheap and easy. We don't need a $300,000 per year president to do
That's
that.
what I said. That it should be. He shouldn't get paid for it. You know, like
Is it 300,000 now?
shouldn't be able to make money off of his.
I don't know what the
like,
president's salary, but I think it's like 200K or something like that. I can't remember.
Right. That's what I heard.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be able to make. I mean, they're breaking all the laws. They're not supposed to be able to make money off their office by, you know, stealing from people and shit and making behind the scene deals and shit.
Hey, so Rocky, let's talk money. Let's talk money real quick. How much does it cost to have a tribunal of judges to enforce the rule of law, to make sure no one kills or steals from each other? How much does it cost to have a National Guard, which is probably mostly volunteer militias who are defending their own shit, so they're not going to charge you for that, but we can pay some mercenaries to support.
I think it's all free and voluntary work.
Why can't we privately own our National Guard and volunteer to defend our own shit basically for free? Like, if you want to ask me how much I'm going to charge you to defend my land, give me a gun and I'll do it for free. I'm going to defend my land with my life, so I'm not letting any foreigners come in and take over.
Before you guys get into
supposed to be the militia is supposed to be
a like well-regulated militia. Okay. How much does that cost? How much does that cost?
Before you, that's just getting together with your neighbors.
Yeah, before you guys get into this, let me play the last 3 minutes of this so I can.
Sorry.
Yeah, because I just want to take this mofo off the screen so it don't look like the whole show's like just this mofo.
Yeah, no problem, dude. Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying?
Gardavian moments, folks. Correct. I absolutely agree. Yes,
he corrected him.
You're absolutely on the money. But if you live in a system like the one we live in, if you live in America, Mr. Miyagi, that you are literally, what is it? You're literally every worker in America, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, that your work is completely exploited. Period. You're not given the same amount. The idea of the free market and capitalism is based on somebody losing. Period. Forever and ever. That's how it is. Your success based on someone else losing is literally trampling your brother for nothing. That's what I'm saying. I don't give a fuck about money. I don't like money. I don't care about that. I don't want none of that. None of this shit fucking moves me. Maybe it's because of my upbringing, maybe because of my trauma with losing people important to me in my early stages of my life. Like, okay, maybe. Fuck that. I'm just sick of it. I'm just sick of.
I mean, I feel bad about like his childhood and stuff, but the thing is that he shouldn't be psych trolling everybody else if he's the one going to a psychiatrist. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, it's not like to be hard on the guy. It's just that, dude, you go like psych trolling all over the internet, calling everybody crazy and shit. And it's
also the appeal to emotion is not a good argument. Just FYI.
Right. It's not when you're talking at this level about ideologies and stuff.
The slow psyops of this world, the slow capitalist psyops. That's all they fucking do. They slow things to make more money in production. That's what they do. They do these psyops. These do these disastrous fucking nonsense. You see in psyops. Yeah, you know what that is? They're seeking how to maximize the profit of this situation that maybe we don't even see, but they see. They're just maximizing that. I mean, because in this weird dialectical world, somebody has to be a winner and somebody a loser. We can't just like coexist equally. You know, why is one good, one bad? What with the class warfare shit? It's just fucking so cringe. I fucking hate it. So fucking cringe. Fucking just don't get it.
We already covered this, but we can recap real quick if you want.
Not the brightest person, but you know, I'm open to any correction. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, one day, Smith.
Good we narrow this down to which religion. By the way, this part of the VK is just this dude spurging out, so you probably can skip that part because it goes on for a little while.
Well, that's it. That's the end of what I recorded there. It was just the little rant that he had, you know.
After the dude left, the Spurg left, we did debate a little bit libertarian versus authoritarian, and that's why it does get a little interesting. But we already covered that here, so we don't.
Yeah, how do you measure? How do you measure Jim Bob and Andrew Wilson? I've had lots of interactions with those guys. That's how I started out live streaming. Was actually I started out calling into the Crucible debates. That was the first time I actually went on. Figured out what live streaming was. They gave me a StreamYard's link, and I signed in with the link, and I was like, this is very interesting. And then I found out that other people were streaming on StreamYards, and that's when I met Cecil Drake when I called into get cucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think those dudes like to argue, and they're obviously passionate about their particular religion. The fact that they're authoritarian tells me everything I need to know about them, though. So I bet they'll have real fun debating socialism versus capitalism, because it's funny how authoritarians always defend socialism. They're always leaning towards socialism as like the better choice for some reason. But I'll be more than happy to get into them with that if they want to pursue that route. But also, speaking of streaming, I'm still looking for my restream button, TML. Don't forget that one. I like the.
I don't know. I don't know why it's missing for me.
I don't either.
I actually don't. Yeah, I actually don't know.
I hope you figure it out, because I would like to share the love on my channel too. So I want to share our wonderful conversations.
Restreaming. Yeah, it's not like I like disabled it or anything. It's just gone. I think they just want to shadow ban my stream. I mean, that could be an explanation of it. They don't want people to restream my shit.
StreamYard? I don't think they care. It's probably just a button in settings or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I've never changed it, and people have restreamed my shit in the past. So I don't know why.
It's just not there right now. That's all. Just quick feedback. But anyways, that's fine. It's not a big deal. It's just, those little things.
I mean, it's a big deal for me. I'd like people to restream my shit all the time so I could grow my fucking channel. It's fucking annoying. I mean, I don't know how to change it. You know what I'm saying? It's
just
if I go to setting.
Google a FAQ or something. Maybe that'll.
Yeah, maybe if I go to settings and guests, maybe the guests and settings.
I have no idea.
Oh, guests can stream this to their own destinations.
There you go. There it is.
It is. Oh, okay, it's there now. Huh? Okay. See, they fucked that up for me. See, all I had to do is look. All right, well, there you go, buddy. But I'm about to end this. But this is just a test stream. But
yeah.
Restream my shit tonight. That would do me a huge favor. But yeah.
I'll do both. How's that sound?
Tonight I'm having an actual stream. I just did this because last time when I was on the missing link, I tried to stream to my channel, and my video is just a bunch of snapshots of me of me and Jesse from Missing Link talking. It's not even a video. I was so shocked. I was so shocked at how poor the video was.
Sometimes you gotta test shit out to see how it functions. So we just figured out that button, for example. So we're making progress, dude. We're gonna conquer technology. Don't worry.
Well, I'm glad I figured that shit out, man.
Word. All right, so do you want to wrap up with the Price is Right with Rocky, or what do you want to
do? Well, I'm glad that Rocky came on to talk. I will be streaming tonight, so I will see you guys tonight if you guys want to come on. Cecil Drake, you want to tell him something? And I'll play this shit tonight, But yeah, what's up?
Yeah, we can totally continue this later.
What are you playing? What are you playing tonight?
This video of us talking. At
Yeah,
the end of
bro.
my stream, possibly.
And don't forget to donate to TML streams because he is banned from major institutions of learning, mostly because of socialism and social influence. So he has to come on here to teach what his philosophies and stuff like that.
So he's
So
probably said something right, is what I'm hearing. If he said something right, he's getting banned for it, probably.
that's correct. And then therefore it needs your monetary support. You can get that cash app right there on the ticker on the bottom of the screen. And
Word.
also don't forget to donate to his collection agent, Cecil Drake, who is my cash app is right there underneath my name at Apocalypse Fetish. And because I need gas money, 'cause I'm gonna be traveling the Americas pretty soon.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Cecil.
Straight up.
Yeah. And I'll possibly see you tonight, man. Yeah, peace, bro. And yeah, what about you, I5?
Oh yeah, you can see me at ifi-yt's my YouTube channel. I still have Kung Flu, so I haven't started my channel yet. But as soon as I can heal up, the shit's gonna get real. So um, until then, I just kind of bomb in on other people's channels like I'm doing right now with my raspy voice. So I'll definitely take you out in the follow up stream, I guess, if you want to continue this conversation. That sounds cool. So word.
For sure, dude. Yeah. Yeah, see you tonight. I'm gonna be hanging around and playing some music for you guys. But yeah, Rocky, what you got for him?
Oh, I have my latest video, The Matrix Revealed.
You
Rock Shepherd.
in the chat, are you a mod in the chat, Rocky?
No.
Okay, well hold on. Let me try to make you a mod here so that then you can drop the link for your channel so that everybody can subscribe to it so they can find your video. You know what I'm saying? Give me 1 second here.
All right.
Yeah, because that'll only take a second. Can you can you type something in the chat? I don't know how. I don't see you in the chat there.
Oh, it's what in chat?
Just type anything. Just type anything in the chat. Just type anything. So I can make you a mod and then you can drop your link.
Oh.
Yeah, because that way we can find your channel because it's gonna be very hard to find your channel.
I'll find it. Here,
Okay, here we
I'll
go.
get it.
Okay, here we go. I got you. Add as moderator. Okay, there you go. Now you could drop a link in the chat. You see what I mean?
All right.
Let me make Sarah a moderator too, because she's a good friend of the channel. Thank you, Sarah, for being here.
All right. Thanks. I guess I'm out then. Thanks for having me. I love you guys.
Yeah,
Peace.
thank you, Rocky. I love you too, man. Yeah, drop your link there and bless you, my brother. Yeah. See you tonight. Possibly. All right, guys. I'm gonna stick around, test some videos and some music here. You know what I mean? I was gonna watch some of the shows I was on last night. I was actually on Missing Link with Jesse, and I went to go move some tables for my dad. They're having a get together at my house because my uncle died last year. So yeah, we're gonna have a Quran reading for my uncle there. So it's gonna be some wild stuff. But yeah, here's Rock E's link. Let me go ahead and open that link up and show you guys what the deal is there. Then we're gonna see the Matrix Revealed, Rock E. Subscribe to Rock E's channel. Here's his video right here. Let's watch some of this video and then I'm gonna play some music for you guys and see what's going on here. All right. Yeah, I'm doing a show tonight, 7:30 at night. I'm gonna be presenting some of my sources for my Jesse Howe missing link interview. You know what I mean? So you guys stick around and see. It's gonna be some interesting readings. You know, that I'm gonna present for you guys some historical facts about the occult, about some philosophers, their relation to occult theology. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Some degree of centralized control. It demands an approximately equal standard of life in human beings, and probably a certain uniformity of education. And it's this uniformity of education that we're concerned with that wipes out the cultural or the religious in all aspects and times. You know, he goes on to say that the goal of the machine is the goal of efficiency, and efficiency leads to the ideal of softness, the ideal of a safer world, a harmless world, a world without risk, a world without danger, and indeed a world without effort. One that is totally debased of human will, a world that is actually totally governed by the machine, whose God is the God of progress, faith in the future, the ideal of the future, sitting, waiting for change to happen instead of engaging in society, engaging in or participating, as Skolomowski would say, you know, within society, you know, participating within these transmogrifiers, which are the tools we use to perceive reality. You know, and we go to you know, these critiques were offered in the 1900s, at the beginning of the 1900s, but we could go much earlier than that. You know, indeed, we can go to a thinker by the name of Thomas Carlyle, who had quite a different theory than Marx about world history, saying that history was nothing more than the decisions of the great men of history, who exercised their will, kind of took everybody for a wild ride in terms of their own actions, and actually were the true engines of history, not society influencing man, but individuals influencing society on the whole. Quite an interesting summation he had. And he writes in a work criticizing the techno-liberal worldview, in which he notes that now it is certain that in former times the wise men, the enlightened lovers of their kind, who appealed generally as moralists, poets, or priests, did, without neglecting the mechanical province, deal chiefly with the dynamical, applying themselves chiefly to regulate, increase, and purify the inward primary powers of man, and fancying that herein lay the main difficulty and the best service they could undertake. But a wide difference is manifest in our age, for the wise men who now appear as political philosophers deal exclusively with the mechanical province, he says, and occupying themselves in counting up and estimating men's motives, strive by curious checking and balancing and other adjustments of profit and loss to guide them to their true advantage, while unfortunately the same motives are so innumerable and so invariable in every individual that no really useful conclusion can be drawn from their enumeration. But though mechanism, wisely contrived, has done much for man in social and moral point of view, we cannot be persuaded that has ever been a chief source of his worth or happiness. In fact, he then goes on to blame the mechanism for drastically altering the religious framework and the artistic framework. He notes, in fact, if we look deeper, we shall find that this faith in mechanism has struck its roots down into man's most intimate primary sources of conviction, and it's thence sending up over his whole life and activity innumerable stems, fruit bearing and poison bearing. The truth is, men have lost their belief in the invisible and believe and hope and work only in the visible. Or to speak it in other words, this is not a religious age, he says. This is not a religious age. Very clearly drawing a dialectic between the machine and the God of the machine and the God of religion. So this age is not a religious age, saying it's the age of the machine. He goes on to say, only the material, the immediately practical, not the divine and spiritual, is important to us. The infinite, absolute character of virtue has passed into a finite, conditional one. It is no longer a worship of the beautiful and good, but a calculation of the profitable. Worship, indeed, in any case, is not recognized among us, or is mechanically explained to us into fear of pain or hope of pleasure. Our true deity is mechanism. It has subdued external nature for us, and we think it will do all other things. We are giants in physical power in a deeper than metaphorical sense. We are titans that strive by heaping mountain on mountain to conquer heaven also. Interesting. He says that this is a godless age, you know. But then he contrasts that with religious thinking, you know, and we see his comments on religion, you know, quite to the contrary. He notes the thinking of or the system of the Prophet Muhammad, where he states in his lectures on great men, on hero worship, he has a whole chapter on the Prophet Muhammad and on the old traditions of man. He says, withal, I like Muhammad for his total freedom from cant. He is a rough, self-helping son of the wilderness, does not pretend to be what he is not. There's no ostentatious pride in him, but neither does he go much upon humility. He is there as he can be, in cloak and shoes of his own clouding, speaks plainly to all manner of Persian kings, Greek emperors, what it is they are bound to do, knows well enough about himself. The respect due unto thee, in a life and death war with Bedouins, cruel things could not fail, but neither are acts of mercy, of noble, natural pity and generosity wanting. Muhammad makes no apology for the one, no boast of the other. They were each the free dictate of his heart. Each calls for there and then, not a mealy-mouthed man, a candid ferocity, if the case calls for it, is in him. He does not mince matters. The war of Tabuk is a thing he often speaks of. His men refused, many of them, to march on that occasion. Pleaded the heat of the weather, the harvest, and so forth. He can never forget that. Your harvest? It lasts for a day. What will become of your harvest through all eternity? Hot weather? Yes, it was hot, but hell will be hotter. Sometimes a rough sarcasm turns up. He says to unbelievers, ye shall have the just measure of your deeds at that great day. They will be weighed out to you. Ye shall not have short weight. Everywhere he fixes the matter in his eye, he sees it. His heart now and then is as if struck dumb by the greatness of it. Assuredly, he says, that word that word in the Quran is written down sometimes as a sentence by itself. Quote unquote, assuredly. He continues, no dilettantism in this Muhammad. It is a business of reprobation and salvation with him, of time and eternity. He is in deadly earnest about it. Dilettantism, hypothesis, speculation, a kind of amateur search for truth, toying and cocketing with truth. This is the sorest sin. The root of all other imaginable sins, it consists in the heart and soul of the man never having been open to truth, living in a vain show. Such a man not only utters and produces falsehoods, but is himself a falsehood. The rational, moral principle, spark of divinity is sunk deep in him, in quiet paralysis of life and death. The very falsehoods of Muhammad are truer than the truths of such a man. He is the insincere man, smooth polished, respectable in sometimes in places, inoffensive, says nothing harsh to nobody, most clearly, just as carbonic acid is, which is death and poison. So what does all this have to do with Nietzsche, Christianity, Islam, techno-liberalism? I hope that you will join us for an extension of this great lecture as we explore in depth some of Nietzsche's philosophy and in regards to these matters, and then move on to other thinkers like Rousseau and Ibn Khaldun, and we'll move to see how some other thinkers in history have exemplified or rejected these views. As we move on with part 2 of our series, we move to the 1700s, the source of the problem, the spawn of the techno-liberal system. Please join us soon, and we hope you have a blessed time in this technological shadow land. Good night. Greetings from the Machine Lies. This is another segment in our lecture about Nietzschean philosophy, techno-liberalism, Islam, technology, and the recent developments of right-wing Nietzscheanism. And we're here to explore some of the premises of some of those who try to explain these ideologies. Why were the philosophers Nietzsche and Rousseau, who are at the one end, the apex of Western thought, and at the other end, foremost critics of modernism, why are they put at the center stage of new developments, within civilization today? And what are their critiques of some of the major Western religions, or they seem to have novel insights on the religious scope and present novel insights therein. So, in the first part of our lecture, we looked at different names and figures. We read part of Eco Theology by Henryk Skolmowski. We cited Luria in his cognitive psychology, his views of the Muslims of Uzbekistan. We then moved to the views of Kaczynski on religion. Then we read a bit of Orwell in our first part of our lecture. We even went over the views of Thomas Carlyle on various topics, and we read from the course pack here, Confronting Technology. And we'll be looking at more of these thoughts today. But I remember last time I was going to open up and talk about the views of Friedrich Nietzsche. And unfortunately, we got cut off early because of the battery life on the laptop. Well, it has been quite an intermission, my friends. I'm sorry to leave you with that. But, we are returned here today for the second part of our lecture on what Nietzsche's response was to liberalism and how he thought that the democratic values were the heir of the Christian movement. And we'll move into some of these statements by Friedrich Nietzsche. And we'll start with, I guess, his views on the foundational thoughts within the West, and these would be the thoughts of Greek philosophers, which he seemed to abhor. And this will bring us full circle to the end, is that, we're going to argue here that Plato was a liberal, that Plato's thoughts were destructive to Athens, and that it's as Madison really said. If every Athenian were a Socrates, then all of Athens would be a mob. Well, what do we know about Socrates? Well, we know very little of Socrates apart from what Plato says about him, and we see that the modern Socrates is a construction of Plato, kind of this self-deprecating kind of person that was not somebody who prized warrior virtues. But in the end, we see that the Socrates of Xenophon is a lot more scathing in his retort to the Athenians, to their democratic values. And we find even creeping up in Plato that Socrates and Plato in Plato's writings, they seem to prize the Lacedaemonian virtues, the virtues of the Spartans, way above those of Athens. And we'll talk about some of these connections going forward. But first, we'll mention the views of Friedrich Nietzsche. Now, we're reading here from our book, Christ Protagonist, or Logos Dethroned, from chapter 13, entitled The Birth of a God Called Pan, the Myth of Progress and the Religion of Progress. Now, I'm reading here from paragraph 273, where I write that about Friedrich Nietzsche, that he felt that the democratic movement is the heir of the Christian movement. And we'll cite this from Beyond Good and Evil in just a minute here. But he said he ridiculed the dotish philosophers and brotherhood enthusiasts who call themselves socialists and want a free society, but in fact are one with the lot in their thorough and instinctive hostility to every form of society except that of the autonomous herd. So he blames a universalism creeping up, and the idea of man having a base nature, the man in the state of nature, this species man, where there's no qualifications that differ from one man to another. Of course, Nietzsche saw equality as a myth. And if you look around, I think you'll concede that equality is a myth. The view of equality is a view that reduces mankind to a common herd animal. One size fits all. It's not a type of thinking that is sort of taking a look, a personal look at the human experience, or a participatory look at the designs of the individual or the will or volition of a single individual. Instead, it undermines humanity in a kind of baselessness, a rootlessness. And this is kind of what we addressed in the first part
of our lecture. But here Nietzsche goes on to say that socialist dolts and flatheads, and this is a direct quote by Nietzsche, he actually calls socialist dolts and flatheads. He says they'll anoint the man of the future. The last man, as he says, the man of the future. He called such a man the perfect herd animal. This is, of course, the liberal man, the socialist ideal. He also noticed that the time for petty politics is over, quote unquote. The very next century will bring the fight for domination of the earth, the compulsion to large scale politics. And you see this in section 208 of Beyond Good and Evil, where he makes a shocking prediction about world politics, international politics, obviously looking at the downfall of nationalism, and of a man with a national identity. Nietzsche realized that the myth of progress and faith in the future was promulgated by the utterly faithless. He writes in section 212, quote, "A man of tomorrow and the day after tomorrow has always found himself and had to find himself in contradiction to his today." His enemy was ever the ideal of today. Nietzsche did not see history as a linear progression away from the previous order, but saw ebbs and flows of a singular movement, which was bound to repeat itself. His notion of cyclical change was much more akin to the Hindu repeating cycles of time than the Greek or Pauline view of history. In section 260, he talks about a slave morality is essentially a morality of utility. The utilitarian framework itself is democratic in a way. He talks about the slowly arising democratic order of things, and these are all brought into focus by him here. We're going to move on to his views on Darwinism, and it seemed like Nietzsche rejected Darwinism and rejected the notion of the myth of progress, which is much alive in the 21st century as ever. But Nietzsche seemed to criticize Darwinian naturalism. I'm reading here from paragraph 276 from my book, Christ's Protagonist. He seemed to criticize the major tenets of Darwinian nationalism. He said the idea of an organ developed through vestigial organs was absurd. He says, quote, "The ability of an organ does not explain its origin," unquote, and questioned how something partly formed could ever develop or improve through use in external circumstances. He also said, quote, "Darwin forgot the mind," unquote. Darwin offers no discussion on the intricacies of animal psychology and the propensity of man in this case, which is different from his animal counterparts on several fronts. He noticed that the weak often rule over the strong because the majority becomes cleverer than the strong. This democratic impulse itself was the greatest argument against Darwinism. Men do not strive for freedom, but beg for change and progress in some sort of inane impulse of collective morality that comes to settle in with the subtlety of vengefulness. What is more is that sexual selection does not occur in humans the same way as it does in animals. In humans, at least, such a process of selection is deeply irregular and has many historical shifts and cultural anomalies. He goes on to say that the will to power to drive changes in nature instead of steady progress of Darwinian evolution is much more preferable. He found the notion of Darwinism to be inextricably linked to liberal idealism. History has instead shown us that the weaker overtakes the stronger by continual compromise and childish effacement. This points to a concerted devolution a devolution and stultifying of progress. He said, he said, quote, I am inclined to the prejudice that the school of Darwin has been diluted everywhere, unquote. He pointed he posited the herd animal as the stultifier of the will to power, whose development was irregular and unpredictable, in a quote from Naklas. That is Nietzsche's journal writings, unpublished journal writings. He writes the quote, the progress of the species, period. The very opposite is quite palpably the case, he says. Yes. Yes, and as we know, Darwin family and the Huxley family were the foremost promoters of the theory of evolution. The families would marry into one another with the belief that preserving the genetics, preserving their genetics and an aptitude for science was necessary. They recommended many dysgenic procedures to be implemented in society, and they went on to found all sorts of organizations that founded um, science partnerships that study dysgenic procedures, like such as Planned Parenthood and others. And we see that today these institutions are everywhere championed by the type of liberal, the herd man of today. And what's more, so this is kind of where the drive to right wing Nietzsche is coming from. Now, what about Nietzsche's views on the Greeks and his views on Western civilization? Now, let's turn to page 226 in my book, Christ Protagonist, and we will find here some of Nietzsche's very controversial views on European society. And I'll write here from paragraph 412. Rome had a problem with two things. One was the invasion from the outside by European invaders, and the other was an internal struggle of decadence, corruption, and cultural schism. The spread of Christianity to the Gentile population, which was a project undertaken by Paul, would provide uh, a pivotal tipping point for the Roman power in this critical stage. Rome's conversion to Christianity not only marked the spread of Christianity to Europe, but signaled its collapse. The European Christianity, which outlived Rome, came to dominate in the world. Paul knew what any good spy and soldier knows. The best way to win a war is by deception, and the clearest way to overtake the enemy is by ideas and not guns. Thus, Christianity became a phenomenon for the Gentile masses, which attracted them away from the Roman rule, in which case it became pro-European and anti-Roman formulation. In short, it strengthened Rome's enemies while weakening Rome itself. Furthermore, the systems of Greek and Roman learning, the collusion of pagan practices, the philosophical underpinning of the West, and the spiritual materialism of the Gnostics can be seen in the development of European thought. This also signaled the rise of the Catholic Church, yet another civilization would rise up to challenge not only the basis for Christian society, but also presented a unique political challenge to Christian society that had gone along by separating the theological and the political sphere and the philosophical truth from religious truth. Um, that was a reference to the philosophy of Thomas Aquinas.
I go on to say, this was the empire of Islam, Arabia, which was known as the wilderness of the Bible, had once again produced a challenge to the claimants of divine rule. The golden age of Islamic civilization is seen as both an influence on the West and something that threatened to overtake European Christian civilization by spreading rapidly through indiscriminate force. The view that Islamic science had just as much influence on Christian Europeans as did classical Greek philosophy is not widely noted. I go on to say, Nietzsche was a student of Greek and Roman culture, but to him, nothing was more stultifying and stupefyingly monumental as the collapse of Rome itself. He studied the Roman Republic and was a philologist that is known by some to be the pinnacle of Western ideas. He described the takeover of Rome by Christians to be a rise of anarchism and hatred for the world, which replaced the Epicurean and aristocratic life, affirming virtues of Roman civilization, whose cultural achievements were transformed into a debased slave morality. He blamed Paul, the quote unquote Chandala of Rome, as the hidden influencer with a sectarian movement that, quote, stood apart from Rome, unquote. He describes the subterranean unio mystica, quote unquote, of drinking blood to be a vampirism which drew on the pansyncretistic fervor of the cults of the Great Mother Mary, the dying and rising god of Osiris, and the Persian Mithra, to have been melded into a Jewish conception. Christianity, after all, taught that, quote unquote, salvation is of the Jews. The Christians were most extreme in their denial of the world. These are all statements that Nietzsche made in his book Antichrist in paragraph 58. He also says, quote, everything wretched, intrinsically ailing, and invaded by bad feelings, the whole ghetto world of the soul at once on top. One needs only but to read any of the Christian agitators, for example. St. Augustine, in order to realize, in order to smell what filthy fellows came to the top, unquote. He writes, Nietzsche apparently could not come to appreciate the attacks of St. Augustine against Rome. Yes, that's right. In his City of God, St. Augustine makes pretty virulent attacks and accusations against Rome. He actually calls Rome the antithesis of the City of God. He compares Rome to the fallen state, if you will, in many ways. He was also interested in St. Augustine's attack on man as a sinful being. Famously said, hate the sin and not the sinner. Of course, one could argue whether within Christianity, man is made naturally sinful, or if this is a misunderstanding of the Christian teaching. But that's not a subject for today. But I go on to say, Nietzsche felt that false humility was itself a sort of pridefulness. Yes, this is what comes out in his writings. And he says it was only built on a kind of spiteful resentment. He felt that man's conscience was forever plagued by the impartial spectator, quote unquote.
that cleverly undermined his own potential by bringing down others. He complained that man is the beast with red cheeks. This is a quote from Zarathustra, one of his famous quotes. Man is the beast with red cheeks. He put these things in the mouth of the prophet of the Zoroastrian religion. Interesting. He was apparently convinced that Christianity had deranged the simple virtues found in older religions, which promoted the mentality of a warrior saint. He thought that before this subtle revolutionary and metaphysically deranged views of Paul, Christ must have been a figure comparable to the warrior saints of old, or at least the warlike prophets of the Old Testament. He felt the Old Testament God was, excuse me, a much more accurate representation of an all-powerful being. Nietzsche was not a fan of Plato either. He said that Christianity was Platonism for the people, as we mentioned before. And I will get to that quote in a minute here. But he also says, certainly the church fathers even made comparable statements in saying that the pagan philosophy was a preparation in the world for Christian teaching. We see these statements by Clement of Alexandria and also St. Eusebius, among others. And Nietzsche even despised the so-called German culture, which he said was used as the Swiss guard, quote unquote, the Swiss guard of the church. He felt that Rome was not only wiped out by Teutons, but enveloped and emaciated slowly by the doctrine of the church, devised by Paul. The preferred Roman and Greek culture. He preferred Roman and Greek culture to modern European culture, and the culture of Islamic civilization as even more palatable than the rule of the Greeks and Romans. He wrote, quote, if Islam despises Christianity, it has thousandfold right to do so. Islam at least assumes men, unquote. This is in Antichrist 59. And this seemed to have influenced minds like Carlyle. It's pretty, as we talked about in the first part of our lecture. He also says in a follow-up passage, he states, quote, Christianity destroyed for us the whole harvest of ancient civilization, and later it also destroyed for us the whole harvest of Mohammedan civilization. The wonderful culture of the Moors, which was fundamentally nearer to us and appealed more to our senses and taste than that of Rome and Greece, unquote. I'll say that again. The wonderful culture of the Moors, which was fundamentally nearer to us and appealed more to our senses and taste than that of Rome and Greece. That's right. Many may be shocked by these statements, but we are not surprised, I say here. This was by a well-known and erudite master of Western learning who had seen through the scamming of Europeans and Jews and wanted to return to his Polish Slavic heritage. Just like those people in Uzbekistan that were psyoped by Alexander Luria. you know, um, you know, he saw a slave morality, it says. It grew out of Paul's teaching to be a subversive dredging up of a herd mentality and moral psychology, which was the most detrimental to a man of high stature that stood apart from the commoner. He felt that this subterranean lust for power had crystallized in the thirst for a new order, a new world of collective salvation. And of course, this leads us to the collective salvation of the democratic and liberal age, which he saw as akin to this. but he felt that which idealized faith in the future through the myth of progress. Nietzsche saw that hollow and grandiloquent dreams of progress, that the hollow and grandiloquent dreams of progress to be refuted by the fact that the cultural achievements of Greece and Rome were hardly matched in his own time, especially in terms of social organization or the level of expertise and talent. You know, obviously, culture has not improved since then. He saw the men of that time to be superior to the modern European. The warrior's mentality had sunken down like a ghost ship of history, and only a pale schematic, quote unquote, everyman of the 19th century Europe was left to propagate the world. He felt that the West had opposed the spread of Islam to its detriment. He writes, quote, because it had to thank noble and manly instincts for its origin, because it said yes to life, even to the refined luxuriousness of Moorish life. The Crusaders later made war on something before which it would have been more fitting for them to have groveled in the dust, a civilization to which even that of our 19th century seems very poor and senile, unquote. He added, the Crusaders must be seen without the eyes of prejudice as a band of looters that despise the wealth of the Arabs. He admonishes his own German people, praises the Romans, and even above Rome, praises the culture of the Moors. He noted that, quote, Christianity and alcohol, the two great means of corruption, unquote. Had laid scourge to the great men of Europe. He states, quote, intrinsically, there should be no more choice between Islam and Christianity than there is between an Arab and a Jew. The decision is already reached. Nobody remains at liberty to choose here. Either a man is a Chandala or he is not. War to the knife with Rome, peace and friendship with Islam, he writes, unquote. This scathing retort is at least an honest reflection, and we find it to be a mostly ignored chapter of Nietzsche's philosophy. Of these neoconservatives that defend Nietzsche's views, it should awaken them from their slumber, and of those who feel Christian virtues go hand in hand with progress, it should give some pause. Now, was Nietzsche correct about his aligning of Christian virtues with liberal values? Now, as we discussed in our first part, there is the uneasy challenging of the technological drive in man, or secularism at large, by Christian values. So as much as we see technology and liberalism being linked, we see that Christianity actually opposes liberal values. So in a way, Nietzsche is correct about collective salvation. On another end, he's wrong that Christianity has not, in some sense, opposed liberalism, because it has opposed secular values to a certain extent. So, so is Nietzsche's critique 100%? Now, Nietzsche has offered some interesting views, and we'll go on with some more of his views here. Now, he viciously attacks progress, modern progress, and we'll see some more of this just coming up here. He writes in a book, Human All Too Human, in paragraph 218, he says, the machine as teacher, the machine of itself teaches the mutual cooperation of hordes of men in operations where each man has to do only one thing. Each man has to do only one thing.
It provides the model for the party apparatus and the conduct of warfare. On the other hand, it does not teach individual autocracy. Excuse me. It does not teach individual autocracy. It makes of many one machine, and of every individual an instrument to one end. Its most generalized effect is to teach the utility of centralization. No lies detected in that one. Now he goes on to say in paragraph 220, reaction against machine culture. The machine itself, a product of the highest intellectual energies, sets into motion in those who serve it almost nothing but the lower non-intellectual energies. It thereby releases a vast quantity of energy in general that would otherwise be dormant. It is true. But it provides no instigation or enhancement to improvement. And this is exactly what we see in the diminishing skills of people today, thanks to automation itself. It provides no instigation to enhancement, to improvement, to become an artist, he says. It makes men active and uniform, but in the long run, this engenders a counter effect, a despairing boredom of the soul, which teaches them to long for idleness in all its variety. Wrong for idleness in all its varieties. Let's move on to paragraph 278. He says, the premises of the machine age, the printing press, the machine, the railway, the telegraph, are premises whose 1,000-year conclusion no one has yet dared to draw. He says in paragraph 288, to what extent the machine debases us. The machine is impersonal. It deprives the piece of work of its pride, of the individual goodness and faultiness that adheres to all. Work not done by a machine. That is to say, of its little bit of humanity. In earlier times, all purchasing from artisans was a bestowing of a distinction on individuals. The things which we surrounded ourselves were the insignia of these distinctions. Household furniture and clothing thus became symbols of mutual esteem and personal solidarity, whereas we now seem to live in the midst of nothing but an anonymous and impersonal slavery. We must not purchase the alleviation of work at too high a price, he complains. So, definitely a critic of progress in the genealogy of morals, which we'll read later. More of, he says, our entire modern way of life has the appearance of sheer hubris and godlessness. Our whole attitude towards nature, the way we violate her with the aid of machines and the heedless inventiveness of our technicians and engineers, is hubris. So, not what you would expect from a somebody who stands at the pinnacle of Western thought. We have a thinker that is far opposed to Judeo-Christian values. Actually, finds the concatenation of such a concatenation to be completely destructive to Western society, and also opposes evolution. He opposes evolution as something that is pale, anemic, reduces man to a species animal. He then attacks progress and even attacks technology. Our modern technology and our drive towards scientific hubris that led to this technology. So when people are standing in support of Nietzschean philosophies, Are they rejecting democratic values? Are they rejecting herd instincts? Are they rejecting Judeo-Christian thinking? Are they rejecting progress? Are they rejecting science and technology? These are all things that Nietzsche basically emphatically rejected. So beware of anybody who calls himself Nietzschean. Nietzsche is a radical thinker. He does not make moderate claims here. So anybody who thinks that they're just going to stand in support of Nietzsche, or anybody who calls himself Nietzschean, please beware of such people. Such people are completely um, trying to psyop you into oblivion. Let's just start there. Uh, the first people who tried to turn Nietzsche into a pretty boy were the postmodernists. Now they largely failed because here we have Nietzsche's own words, and it seems like his philosophy is not amenable to that. He says here in Beyond Good and Evil, Christianity is Platonism for the people. He calls Christianity Platonism for the people. Let's move on to some more of his statements here against liberalism. And it's important to note that Nietzsche made lots of statements against liberalism. He says here that we're looking here at his in his paragraph 192 of Beyond Good and Evil. He says, whoever has traced the history of an individual science, we're moving on here to his critique of science, finds a clue in its development for understanding the most ancient and most common processes of all quote unquote knowledge and cognition, unquote. There, as here it is, the rash hypotheses, the fictions, the good, dumb will to quote unquote believe, the lack of mistrust and patience that are developed first. Our senses learn only late and never learn entirely to be subtle, faithful, and cautious organs of cognition. Our eye finds it more comfortable to respond to a given stimulus by reproducing once more an image that it has produced many times before, instead of registering what is different and new in its impressions. The latter would require more strength, more quote unquote morality. Hearing something new is embarrassing and difficult for the ear. Foreign music we do not hear well. When we hear another language, we try involuntarily to form the sounds we hear into words and sound more familiar and more like home to us. Thus, the German, for example, transformed arquebulist, I'm not sure how to say that. Sorry, friends. When he heard that, into armbrust. What is it says it means arm breast. Both words mean crossbow, it says in the footnote. What is new finds our senses too hostile, reluctant, even in the simplest process of sensation. The effects dominate, such as fear, love, hatred, including passive effects of laziness. He here talks about memory, a sort of memory as being an opposing to the drive for progress, the drive for hubris, and the drive for discovery. And he goes on to critique the liberal way of life and states that and says over here that all these and now I'm reading from paragraph 198. He says all these moralities that address themselves to the individual for the sake of his happiness. Happiness. As one says, what are they but counsels for behavior in relation to the degree of dangerousness which the individual lives with himself, recipes against passions, his good and bad inclinations, insofar as they have the will to power and want to play the master, little and great prudences and artifices that exude the nook odor of the old nostrums of the wisdom of old women, all of them baroque and unreasonable in form, because they address themselves to quote unquote all. He's blaming now universalism. He goes on to say, because they generalize where one must not generalize. All of them speak unconditionally, take themselves for unconditional, all of them flavored with more than one grain of salt and tolerable only at times, even seductive when they begin to smell overspiced and dangerous, especially quote unquote of the other world. All of this, it is measured intellectually worth very little, and not by a long shot, quote unquote, science, much less, quote unquote, wisdom, but rather to say it once more 3 times, prudence, prudence, prudence mixed with stupidity, stupidity, stupidity. Whether it is the indifference and the statue coldness against hot-headed folly, to the effects of which the Stoics advised or they administered, or that laughing no more and weeping no more of Spinoza. His so naively advocated destruction of the effects through their analysis and vivisection, and tuning down of the effects to a harmless mean according to which they may be satisfied, the Aristotelianism of morals. The Aristotelianism of morals, he calls it. Even morality as enjoyment. To the effects deliberate thinness and spiritualization by means of symbolization of art, say as music, and as love of God, of man, for God's sake, for in religion the passions enjoy the rights of citizens, again, assuming that finally even that accommodating and playful surrender to the effects as Hafiz and Goethe, the great antinomian poets, Hafez and Goethe. He says they taught it. The bold dropping of the reins, that spiritual physical licentia morum, in the exceptional case of the wise old owls and sots for whom it no longer holds much danger, quote unquote. This too for the chapter, quote, morality as timidity, he says. So unfortunately, Nietzsche saw all forms of morality as timidity, even going so far as to cancel out dualism by a union of the spiritual and the physical in the way of the antinomians and the Sufis, and he goes on to say that that this is moral hypocrisy, and he says this is brought forward by the instruments of common weal. Instruments of common weal. And he goes on to say, eventually, and this is now, I'm now over at paragraph 201. He says, as long as utility reigning in the moral value judgment is solely the utility of the herd, as long as one considers only preservation of the community and immorality is sought exactly and exclusively in what seems dangerous to the survival of the community, there can be no morality of quote unquote neighbor love. Neighbor love, one of the central themes of Christianity. Supposing that even then there was a constant little exercise of consideration, pity, fairness,
mildness, reciprocity, of assistance, supposing that even in this state of society, all those drives are active and later receive the honorary designation of virtues and eventually coincide with the concept of morality, quote unquote. In that period, they do not yet all belong in the realm of moral valuations, and I'll skip down. He says, in the last analysis, quote, love of the neighbor, unquote, is always something secondary, partly conventional, arbitrary, illusory in relation to fear of thy neighbor. After the structure of society is fixed and whole and seems secure against external dangers, it is this fear of the neighbor which again creates a new perspective of moral valuation. Certain strong and dangerous drives, like the excuse me, enterprising spirit, foolhardiness, vengefulness, craftiness, rapacity, and a lust to rule, which had so far not merely been honored insofar as they were socially useful under different names, to be sure, from those chosen here, but had to be trained and cultivated to make them great, because one constantly needed them in the view of dangers to the whole community against the enemies of the community, are now experienced as doubly dangerous, since the channels to divert them are lacking. Step upon step, they are branded as immoral, abandoned to slander. And he calls these drives the highest and strongest drives, which later he says the opportunity and necessity for educating one's feelings to severity and hardiness, hardness, severity and hardness, sorry, is lacking more and more, and even severity, even injustice begins to disturb the conscience. And again, here he finally says in paragraph 202, I am, he says, indeed, with the help of religion, which indulged and flattened the most sublime herd animal desires, we have reached the point where we find, even in the political and social institutions, an even more visible expression of this morality. The democratic movement is the heir of the Christian movement, he says. The democratic movement is the heir of the Christian movement. A critical statement within Nietzschean philosophy, but he says it's not limited to a Christian style message, but also finds itself within the dogmatic push of 16th and 17th century thought as well within European civilization. And here he talks about this in paragraph 207. He says, however gratefully we may welcome an objective spirit, and is there anyone who has been more mortally sick of everything subjective and of his accused epistemosity? That's a word coined by Nietzsche. In the end, we have to learn caution against our gratitude and put a halt to exaggerated manner in which the unselfing and depersonalization of the spirit is being celebrated nowadays. And this is in the 17th century he's talking about. So imagine what he would think today about the depersonalization of the spirit that's being celebrated, as if it were the goal itself, and redemption and transfiguration. This is particularly characteristic of the pessimist school, which also has good reasons for according to the highest honors to quote unquote disinterested knowledge, unquote. Yeah, to disinterested knowledge, he says. Sorry. Disinterested knowledge. This is objective thought. The objective person who no longer curses the scolds like the pessimist, the ideal scholar in whom the scientific instinct, after thousands of total and semi failures, for once blossoms and blooms to the end, is certainly one of the most precious instruments there are. But he belongs in the hand of one more powerful. He is only an instrument. Let us say he is a mirror. He has no quote unquote end in himself. The objective man is indeed a mirror. He is accustomed to submit before whoever wants to be known without any other pleasure than that found in knowing and quote unquote mirroring. He waits until something comes and then
Shall we begin like David Copperfield? I am born, I grew up. Or shall we begin when I was born to darkness, as I call it?
Like a yo, my words bang against your brain like a hammer. My grammar will snap a rapper and settle the matter. Rappers will scatter. These words might shatter your dreams, batter and bruise. The laughter from the back of my mind is unbearable. Midnight, porcelain moon, pictures of gloom. I lay beneath a starlit sky, licking my wounds. Twisted despair, I swear I don't deserve this. I'm paranoid, that's why I always look nervous. Lost in this realm, sincere faces appear and seem to be behind these sneers. And all this laughter that I hear, am I crazy? Maybe, perhaps I'm cursed. The people gathered and wept at my birth made a third. Can you hear me? Never be heard. Suffer in silence on a hilltop, scream at the sky, begging for guidance. Most ponder my sanity, many worship my name. If I don't see you tomorrow, pray never we meet again. Yo, I've been known to crap mirrors with side glances of self-hate. Take a moment to reflect, I guess a stalemate. My lyrics cut deep, I only shepherd the weak. I thought you had something to say to me, but now you can't speak. Loose lips sink ships, quick fists fell giants. I'll hang you from a star, you can keep your fucking science. I'm a son of man, nothing more, nothing less. My heart was still palpitating as I ripped it from my chest. Suffered in the worst ways, these lyrical displays amazed. Even my worst adversary stand and gaze. My mind is amazed, and I'm lost in the middle. I'm trying to find a way out, but I keep thinking in riddles. Snigger at my own stupidity, lyrically showcased. I laugh for somewhere in paradise is where my home waits. Most ponder my sanity, many worship my name. If I don't see you tomorrow, pray never we meet again. The maid was in the garden, hanging out the clothes, while I crept up and shot her dead in the nose. Message in a bottle, violent as how it could spin. One stranded couple terrorized by backwoodsmen. A young man home from reform school, now a burglar. So sixth graders suspect their principal is a murderer. A man investigates the death of his twin brother. 3 kids search for their missing parents in cover. A nightclub owner schemes against mobsters. 4 congressmen turn out to be imposters. 5 teens try to track down a jewel thief. 1 little boy knocked out another's teeth. Successful scriptwriter becomes a heroin addict. A surgeon and his ex-wife slaughtered by a mechanic. A barroom brawl since they lost students to the hospital. A little girl found a fly inside her popsicle. 2 bored Indians become bank robbers. A cop searching for the killers of his father. A rapper's lifestyle of sex, drugs, and booze. A highwayman swindles a trucker's bruise. A bum looks in a dumpster and finds a new pair of shoes. An injured jazz musician dead on the news. A housewife entangled in lies and domestic abuse. A dirty politician tries to rub out his opponent. The outside man fought another man in the rain. A businesswoman had to school for the correct spelling of a name. A skinhead who led a fierce biker gang involved in white slavery. And Mr. Avery was never neighborly. Romancing a jackpot, he killed his wife and drove to Vegas with her head in a hat box. 1 candy apple, 2 white chocolates, 3 blueberries. 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 She had rings on her fingers and bells on her toes. She'll have music wherever she goes. 7 ladybugs on a honeydew. Crummy you, Mr. Grimes came from a candy house with a gummy roof. I got a Tommy gun that shoots eggs, and I'll put it down. Pop you in the shoulder with a large revolver and laugh. War clouds, war paths to conquer whoever lasts. Like tea cakes and crumpets, shiny bright turquoise trumpets, gold in the compass, piloting an airship. 1 sea of clouds, I drop an axe on you now. Shadow on the barn wall, float a newspaper boat. Juice bars and fudge sticks, roller coasters and Ferris wheels. 1 candy apple, 2 white chocolates, 3 blueberries. 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 There was a young lady, my wife, who disrespect. And the first day I met her, she had a ribbon around her neck. And she wore that ribbon for years and hit a flute. When I'd ask her to remove it, she'd always have excuse. One stormy night while we were in bed, I snatched the ribbon off and off rolled her head. I laughed myself to sleep, the room spun around like a record. 1 candy apple, 2 white chocolates, 3 blueberries. 1 candy apple, 2 white chocolates, 3 blueberries. 1 candy apple, 2 white chocolates, 3 blueberries. That's 1 candy apple, 2 white chocolates, 3 blueberries.
So, do you like bananas? So, do you like bananas as much as me? So, do you like bananas as much as I like bananas?
Hit me! Oh!
That's the dream.
Gordon Benson used to go to my school. Gordon Benson used to get on my bus. Now he does adverts for Muller's rice pudding. those adverts, they say rise, rise, baby.
Swimming, cycling, running,
He does it all. Gordon Benson used to go to my school. Gordon Benson used to get on my bus. Now he does adverts. Mother's rice pudding in those adverts. You say rise, rise, baby.
Rise, rise, baby.
Took the triathlon on his path to stardom. Took the triathlon on his path to stardom. Took the triathlon on his path to stardom. Took the triathlon. He does it all. GB, GB,
Okay, here's an idea for a meme. You get so the
could produce a change in mental state closely resembling some forms of insanity, in particular schizophrenia. However, more interest has centered on the very peculiar symptoms that the drug produces in the subject who is otherwise normal.
You get my share.